Chapter 1963. Bai Shen was enraged. Mo Fenghua, don't push me too far. Su Fang shouted coldly. Words spoken are like spilled water. How can you say that I'm pushing you too far? Then, Su Fang's eyes turned cold. At the beginning of the God's Child battle, you bullied me and tried to kill me. Why didn't you say that you were pushing me too far back then? If you want to kill someone, you have to be prepared to be killed. Besides, I just want your eyes. Su Fang leaped, pouncing straight for Bai Shen like a fierce beast. You're courting death. Piercing metal roared and slashed his right palm in the air. A sharp blade of mystic light, carrying a terrifying aura that could cut through everything, cut Su Fang's body into two halves. Everyone gasped. But the scene of blood splattering didn't appear in front of their eyes. Su Fang used the great Tao of time, and piercing metal's domineering slash only destroyed the afterimage he left behind. Meanwhile, Su Fang's true body took advantage of the time difference to close in on Bai Shen. He stretched out his right hand and grabbed Bai Shen's neck. In the blink of an eye, Bai Shen fell into Su Fang's grasp like a weak chicken. His entire body turned cold, as if the god of death had grabbed his throat. Su Fang said coldly, You and I have no grudge, so why do you want to kill me? Tell me who's behind this, and I'll spare you this time. Bai Shen trembled, but he was still very stubborn. Mo Fenghua, even if you're the #1 godchild of the Star Billow God Realm, do you dare to kill me, a special disciple of the Star Billow God Realm, in front of everyone? Su Fang sneered and mocked. You're such a trash. Killing you would only dirty my hands. However, I can dig out your eyeballs and make you suffer a little. With your cultivation, your eyeballs will quickly grow back after being gouged out. It won't cause much harm to you. Just bear with the pain for a while and you'll be fine. However, if I'm too heavy-handed and your eyes never recover, don't blame me. You dare. Bai Shen was both shocked and angry. Piercing metal stopped attacking and snorted. Mo Fenghua, if you really dare to be so arrogant and despotic, even the Realm Lord won't let you off. Quan Lin sent a primordial spirit message to Su Fang. Bai Shen is a genius of the Star Billow Divine Realm, and his family is quite influential in the Star Billow Divine Realm. If you hurt him in front of everyone, I'm afraid that it will bring a lot of trouble to the Godchild. At that time, even the Lord Realm Master won't be able to protect you. Su Fang replied, Bai Shen was ordered by someone to kill me. I suspect that Solus is the mastermind behind all of this. In fact, he might even have fallen under Solus' control and become a chess piece that Solus has hidden in the Star Billow God Realm. Quan Lin raised his eyebrows and stopped trying to dissuade Su Fang. Su Fang's hand suddenly shrank. Bai Shen was like a chicken being choked by the neck. He couldn't breathe properly, his eyes rolled back, and he couldn't circulate the divine essence in his body. Then, Su Fang's hand relaxed slightly. I'll ask you one more time, who is the mastermind behind all of this? Bai Shen sneered. That's right, I was ordered to kill you by someone. You can't afford to offend this person, so I advise you to let me go obediently. ZZZT. Two beams of fire suddenly shot out of Su Fang's eyes and landed in Bai Shen's eyes, burning them instantly. The eyes were the most sensitive and fragile part of the body. How painful was it to have one's eyes burned alive? Bai Shen wailed like a ghost and howled like a wolf. Then, he fainted from the pain. Su Fang had used the 9-yang divine fire to unleash the heaven-burning eye. Even if Bai Shen was in the Divine Emperor realm and had an incomparably strong divine body, he couldn't heal his eyes easily. Su Fang threw Bai Shen to the ground and looked at piercing metal. He said coldly, Tell the mastermind that I will find him sooner or later and make him pay 10 times the price. Piercing metal shouted angrily, Mo Fenghua, you are so arrogant and despotic. You killed a genius of the Star Billow God Realm, so I, Piercing Metal, challenge you on behalf of the disciples of the Star Billow God Realm. We will fight to the death. Challenge me? You're not worthy. Su Fong sneered disdainfully. He wasn't being arrogant. What he said was the truth. With his current overall strength, piercing metal only had the right to be crushed. He didn't have the right to challenge him. Then I, piercing metal, would like to see for myself just what right you have to be so arrogant, the number one God's son of God, who was obtained by cheating. Piercing metal shouted domineeringly and was about to attack Su Fong. Quan Lin and Quan Jun's bodies swayed. The terrifying pressure of a high-level divine emperor swept out and forced piercing metal to retreat. Piercing metal, you're on your own. If you don't know when to stop, don't blame me for being impolite. Quan Lin revealed the domineering aura of an elder. Mo Fenghua, one day I will make you kneel and lick my shoes. No matter how arrogant piercing metal was, he didn't dare to be impudent in front of two elder experts. After leaving behind a few fierce words, he left with the unconscious Bai Shun in embarrassment. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Gazes filled with reverence fell on Su Fong. Su Fong waved his hand and a storage ring flew into Venerable Tyrant Blood's hand. Then he sent a message with his primordial spirit. There are 5 million divine jades and a rune talisman in the storage ring. Don't go far, I will send someone to find you later. The surrounding crowd looked at Venerable Tyrant Blood enviously. This lucky mercenary. If he hadn't met Su Fong, not only would he have lost his treasure, he would have been captured by the enforcers of Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce. Even if he didn't die, he would lose a layer of skin. Su Fong led the Quan brothers towards Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce. Only when Su Fong's figure disappeared from the market did Venerable Tyrant Blood react. His heart was full of doubts. He brought his wife and children to a nearby inn to stay and wait for Su Fong to send someone over. Husband, are you acquainted with God's son Mo Fenghua? Otherwise, why would he save you and be so generous? Why would he make us wait here? Venerable Tyrant Blood's wife was very intelligent. She could see that Su Fong's actions were unusual. Venerable Tyrant Blood was extremely confused. He smiled bitterly. How could a small mercenary like me know such a peerless figure? In the myriad of worlds, a small mercenary like Venerable Tyrant Blood was like an ant. He had a low status and lived a life of licking blood from the edge of a blade. Su Fong was currently the number one God's son of the Star Billow Divine Realm. In the Star Billow Divine Realm, aside from a few great elders, no one could compare to him. Furthermore, Su Fong would represent the Star Billow Divine Realm in the Star Field's God-Son competition. His future achievements would not be limited to the Star Billow Divine Realm. The difference in status between the two was like the difference between heaven and earth. Venerable Tyrant Blood racked his brains, but he could not figure out why Su Fong would help him. That's really strange. Let's not worry about him first. With this money from God's son Mo Fenghua, our child's strange poison can be cured. I also don't have to be a mercenary anymore and make you worry all day. We must remember God's son Mo Fenghua's life-saving grace forever. While they were talking, a black-clothed man walked into the room. This black-clothed man was wearing a bronze mask. His face could not be seen clearly, but he had a pair of blood-red eyes. His entire body was emitting a cold, evil aura and a thick smell of blood. When the black-clothed man walked into the room, Venerable Tyrant Blood and his wife felt their hearts palpitate. It was as if their souls were frozen. Venerable Tyrant Blood trembled. "You are," the black-clothed man's figure flashed and appeared beside Venerable Tyrant Blood's wife. He reached out and grabbed the child in her arms. "What are you doing?" Venerable Tyrant Blood's divine light instantly changed as he pounced towards the black-clothed man like a wild beast. An evil and cold divine might swept out from the black-clothed man's body and enveloped Venerable Tyrant Blood. Venerable Tyrant Blood felt as if the blood in his body had solidified. He had a feeling that as long as this black-clothed man willed it, he would immediately turn into a pool of blood. Poison? I like it, but it's a pity that it's too weak. The black-clothed man's eyes flashed with an evil blood-red light as his gaze swept across the child. He then chuckled and licked the corner of his mouth with his blood-red tongue, causing venerable Tyrant Blood and his wife's hair to stand on end. Next, the black-clothed man stretched out his right hand and placed it on the child's heart. Hiss! A strand of black silk with a fishy smell flew out from the child's heart and drilled into the black-clothed man's hand, disappearing without a trace. The black she on the child's face rapidly faded at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, it disappeared without a trace. The child, who was originally in a state of deep sleep, suddenly cried out. Venerable Tyrant Blood and his wife fell into ecstasy as hot tears streamed down their faces. Their child had been schemed against by an enemy and had been poisoned. Even after exhausting all their wealth, they still couldn't cure it. In the end, they found an extremely powerful expert who agreed to treat their child, but he demanded 1,000,000 divine jades. Venerable Tyrant Blood had taken a risk and entered a ruin, risking his life to obtain a mid-rank divine artifact. He had finally found a glimmer of hope. They hadn't expected that the poison that had left so many experts helpless would be so easily eradicated by this black-robed man. How could the Tyrant Blood Venerable and his wife not be overjoyed? The black-clothed man handed the child to Venerable Tyrant Blood's wife, then took out a storage ring from his hand and handed it to Venerable Tyrant Blood. This is from my father. He wants you to leave the star below God realm and find a place to cultivate in peace. In the future, you don't have to work as a mercenary to earn money. Venerable Tyrant Blood separated a wisp of his consciousness and entered the storage ring. He was immediately shocked. Inside the storage ring, there were 10,000 mid-rank divine essence pills, a mid-rank divine artifact, and cultivation methods and divine abilities suitable for him. The peak-rank flying sword that Su Fong had bought for 2,000,000 divine jades was also inside. Venerable Tyrant Blood stammered, This. Why did God's son Mo Fenghua give me such good fortune? The black-clothed man said indifferently, Father said that when an old friend is in trouble, helping is the right thing to do. He told you not to think too much about it. You will understand in the future. After saying that, the black-clothed man's figure flashed and disappeared from the room without a trace. Old friend. Venerable Tyrant Blood was dumbfounded. His wife was also shocked. Husband, you're actually old friends with God's son Mo Fenghua? How could I be old friends with God's son Mo Fenghua? Venerable Tyrant Blood shook his head. Then, he thought of the black-clothed man's evil aura and his shocking method of detoxification. A light flashed through Venerable Tyrant Blood's mind. It's him? Chapter 1964. From the aura and methods of the black-clothed man, Venerable Tyrant Blood judged that this mysterious and evil black-clothed man was Su Fong's subordinate Shui Gui. In all the worlds, only Su Fong could be called an old friend. Mo Fenghua is Su Fong. I didn't expect that Su Fong could escape the pursuit of a supreme expert in the Transformation Supreme Tao stage. In less than 100,000 years, Su Fong ascended to become the #1 godchild in the star below divine world. A peerless figure in the great world is still outstanding in all the worlds. When Su Fong was in the Transformation Supreme Tao stage, I didn't help him when he was in a life-and-death situation. Not only did he not hate me, but he also showed me great kindness. Venerable Tyrant Blood's heart was in turmoil. He ascended to the worlds with Su Fong's help. In the Transformation Supreme Tao stage, Su Fong was almost suppressed by Shinja Tianjun. Venerable Tyrant Blood escaped alone and didn't help him. At this time, Su Fong was helping him, which made Venerable Tyrant Blood feel extremely guilty. At the same time, Venerable Tyrant Blood also realized that Su Fong asked Gui to detoxify his child and gave him elixirs, cultivation methods, and treasures. It meant that their fate had come to an end. If I had helped him in the Transformation Supreme Tao stage, Su Fong would definitely have recognized me and not just given me these treasures. If I had followed him, I would have had a chance to become a peerless expert in all the worlds. Thinking of this, venerable Tyrant Blood's heart was filled with deep regret. Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce. Jiang Baozhen personally went to the door to welcome Su Fang and led him to the VIP room. After some pleasantries, Su Fang asked, "Young Master Jiang, did you say that you have news of the Heaven Lord of Chaos and the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan?" Bai Ling was currently in his inner world. The reason why Su Fang asked this question was because he didn't want Jiang Baozhen to be suspicious. In addition, he was also very curious about the chaotic Heaven Monarch and wanted to take this opportunity to inquire about him. Both the Chaos Heaven Lord and the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan are very mysterious. The Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce spent a lot of effort to find out some information about them. Jiang Baozhen explained. As it turned out, the Chaos Heaven Monarch was once a great realm master. He had a wild temperament and established a god realm called the Chaos God Realm. As it was located in a plane with chaotic natural energy, very few people in the outside world knew about it. However, the overall strength of the Chaos Divinity and the Chaos Divinity Monarch were extremely powerful. The Chaos Divinity Monarch had once fought against a Starfield's domain lord and remained undefeated. Later on, it was said that the Chaos Heaven Monarch had perished while attempting to break through to a higher realm. The Chaos Divine World had also split into thousands of small realms, becoming the Chaos Divine World in name only. Su Fang had already heard what Jiang Baozhen said from Bai Ling. This information was worthless. Unexpectedly, Jiang Baozhen continued, "Just 1,000 years ago, the Chaos Heaven Monarch suddenly appeared again. His temperament was still as wild and unruly as before. Moreover, his strength was far greater than before. It was obvious that he had risen to a higher level." The Chaos Heaven Monarch appeared again? Su Fang was surprised. Bai Ling in his inner world was also surprised. Wasn't the old guy in seclusion? Did he succeed in his breakthrough? Just 1,000 years ago, there was a group of bandits called the Underworld Shark that dominated several starfields. Brother Mo, do you know the Underworld Shark? I'm not too sure. The Underworld Shark is a notorious bandit in countless starfields. Not only do they have a large number of people, but they are also extremely powerful. The Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce has been robbed repeatedly by the Underworld Shark, but there is nothing we can do about them. Jiang Baozhen revealed a look of fear. It is said that the boss of the Underworld Shark is a peerless expert comparable to a domain lord. He is so strong that even the domain lord of the Starfield, where the Star Billow Divine Realm is located, is inferior to him. However, such an expert offended the Chaos Heaven Monarch 1,000 years ago for some unknown reason, which caused the Chaos Heaven Monarch to suddenly appear and fight with the boss of the Underworld Shark. In the end, the Chaos Heaven Monarch killed Underworld Shark in one fell swoop. Many of the bandits under Underworld Shark were also killed, and now they are roaming all over the Starfield. Jiang Baozhen's words shocked Su Fang and Bai Ling. That old guy is actually so powerful. Bai Ling exclaimed. The Chaos Heaven Monarch killed the boss of the Underworld Shark most likely because of you, Sister Bai. It seems that this master of yours values you very much. Su Fang exclaimed and was also very happy. The more powerful the Chaos Heaven Monarch was, the more he valued Bai Ling. With such a peerless expert protecting Bai Ling in the future, he would naturally get whatever he wanted. As for the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan, the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce has also found out some information. I don't know if it will be useful to Brother Mo. Jiang Baozhen then slowly told Su Fang some information about the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan. The Four Divine Beasts Ancient Clan was an extremely powerful and mysterious clan in the myriad worlds. They had lived in the ancient god world for generations and were mysterious and unfathomable. They rarely interacted with the outside world. The ancient god world was a higher god world than the U Starfield. Without the strength of a domain lord, it was impossible to enter the ancient god world. Fortunately, the Tongbao Chamber of Commerce was quite influential in the ancient god world and had more or less found out about the Divine Phoenix ancient clan. After chatting with Jiang Baozhen, Su Fang finally found out some information about Fairy Xuanxin. In the past 100,000 years, a peerless genius had risen in the Divine Phoenix ancient clan. Her name was Phoenix Xuanxin. It was said that she had the ancient and pure true body of the Ice Phoenix. She had been carefully cultivated by the Divine Phoenix ancient clan. In less than 100,000 years, she had already surpassed the Divine Emperor realm. Phoenix Xuanxin? She has the true body of the Ice Phoenix. She must be Xuanxin. I didn't expect Xuanxin to have such achievements in just 100,000 years. She has surpassed me by far. The Divine Phoenix ancient clan has an ancient inheritance. Xuanxin has entered the Divine Phoenix ancient clan. Her improvement will definitely surpass that of ordinary gods. I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this. Looks like I have to catch up. Su Fang was shocked. He was happy for Xuanxin but also a little depressed. Fairy Xuanxin had surpassed him again. In addition, Xuanxin had changed her name to Phoenix Xuanxin, which made Su Fang feel a little uncomfortable. Su Fang finally got news about Xuanxin and met Bai Ling again. His heart was completely at ease. Seeing that Su Fang was deep in thought, Jiang Baozhen said with a smile, "Phoenix Xuanxin is so talented. Only a peerless genius like Brother Mo can be a match for her." Su Fang chuckled. "If I have the chance to meet Phoenix Xuanxin, I will definitely pursue her and make her my cultivation partner." Jiang Baozhen laughed. Of course, he took Su Fang's words as a joke. In fact, in his heart, he definitely didn't think that Su Fang was qualified to be a match for Phoenix Xuanxin. A peerless genius carefully cultivated by the Divine Phoenix ancient clan and the first Divine Prince of Xinglan were nothing. "Brother Mo, I invited you here this time because I have something to ask you." Jiang Baozhen looked at Su Fang with a gleam in his deep eyes. "A peerless treasure of mine was stolen by a dog slave. Brother Mo, do you know the whereabouts of this treasure?" Su Fang froze and then smiled faintly. "Young Master Jiang, are you talking about the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle?" "That's right. It is in my hands." When Su Fang had killed Ancestor Hongxing, he had disguised himself as a cloaked immortal and lured Jiang Baozhen and his masters away. Jiang Baozhen already knew that the mysterious cloaked immortal who had stolen the primitive Dao fruit and Dao tree in the primitive ruins was Su Fang in disguise. He must have suspected that the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle had fallen into Su Fang's hand. During the finals of the Divine Prince competition, Su Fang had used the Tianyan mystery solution at the peak of the Trial Mountain and attracted the power of the Thunder Punishment. In order to avoid the Thunder Punishment Divine Tribulation, Su Fang had only borrowed the power of the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle and did not take out the divine artifact. However, Jiang Baozhen had still noticed some clues. It was not strange that Jiang Baozhen had determined that the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle was in Su Fang's hands. Since he could not deny it, Su Fang might as well admit it. Jiang Baozhen stood up and cupped his fists. "The sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle is my family's heirloom. I hope Brother Mo can return it. I am willing to exchange a peak supreme-grade divine artifact for it." "Family heirloom?" Su Fang showed a mocking expression. Since when did the Golden Rainbow Monarch become his ancestor? Jiang Baozhen knew that he could not hide it from Su Fang. His face immediately darkened and he threatened, "It seems that Brother Mo knows the origin and use of the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle. I will not beat around the bush. This is related to the Golden Rainbow Monarch's treasure. How can I let the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle fall into your hands? You have to hand it over even if you don't want to." "I have no intention of handing over a treasure that has already fallen into my hand." Su Fang smiled faintly. If young Master Jiang really wants to take back the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle, you definitely won't ask me for it directly. Instead, you will call the experts of the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce to suppress me. Stop acting. If you have something to say, just say it. Although Su Fang's actual age was much younger than Jiang Baozhen's, he had experienced countless storms in the small and large world. What had he not experienced? He was even more astute than those old monsters who had lived for countless years. How could he not see through Jiang Baozhen's thoughts? I didn't expect Brother Mo's eyes to be so sharp. Jiang Baozhen was like a punctured balloon as he smiled helplessly. Since that is the case, I will get straight to the point. Jiang Baozhen did not hide anything. The sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle is a treasure that I accidentally obtained. Later on, after in-depth investigation, I found out that this treasure is related to the Golden Rainbow Monarch's treasure. The Golden Rainbow Monarch is a great bandit who roams the major star regions. How shocking is his treasure! Although I rely on the power of the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce and have some power in the Star Billow God realm, how could I have the strength to search for treasures in the primal chaos? Moreover, this is related to a supreme divine artifact like the piercing sun golden rainbow. If news of this leaks out, I won't be able to survive even if I have 10 lives, let alone keep the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle. Since the sky-breaking flying rainbow shuttle has fallen into Brother Mo's hands, then it is Brother Mo's good fortune. I definitely have no intention of taking it back. However, I have a suggestion. How about we work together to search for the Golden Rainbow Monarch's treasure? When he said this, Jiang Baozhen's eyes shone brightly as he stared at Su Fang. Work together to search for treasures? Chapter 1965. The Golden Rainbow King was a famous bandit. The broken world he left behind in the primal chaos contained not only the divine creation artifact, the piercing sun golden rainbow, but also the countless treasures and wealth he had accumulated throughout his life. Especially the divine creation artifact, the piercing sun golden rainbow. With such a divine artifact, one could roam freely across the universe. With Su Fang's current strength, it was almost impossible for him to find the Golden Rainbow King's broken world in the primal chaos void, let alone enter it to search for treasures. Moreover, even if Su Fang had the strength, he did not have the energy and time. Jiang Baozhen was different. He could find the Golden Rainbow King's broken world through the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce. In this way, Su Fang did not need to personally search for the Golden Rainbow King's broken world in the primal chaos void. After thinking for a while, Su Fang said slowly, "It's not impossible to work together, but if we really enter the Golden Rainbow King's broken world, how will the treasures be distributed? There are a total of 3 tokens to enter the Golden Rainbow King's broken world. I already know the whereabouts of the other 2. When the time comes, it will definitely not be just the 2 of us. There will be other experts entering together. It's too early to say how the treasures will be distributed. However, there is one thing I can guarantee, Brother Mo. As long as we enter the Golden Rainbow King's broken world, I will do my best to help Brother Mo obtain the piercing sun golden rainbow. As for the other treasures, we will divide them equally. What do you think, Brother Mo?" Jiang Baozhen's conditions were reasonable, so Su Fang readily agreed. Next, Su Fang, accompanied by Jiang Baozhen, went on a shopping spree in the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce. This time, Su Fang could be said to have a bountiful harvest. However, although the various treasures were good, the prices were also extremely shocking. Su Fang had also used up more than half of the 10 million mid-grade medicinal pills that he was awarded in the God Sun competition. This was something that could not be helped. Su Fang cultivated various cultivation methods, divine abilities, and true body. In addition to the resources needed for the cultivation of his subordinates, it was simply like an unfilled bottomless pit. This was the reason why it was difficult for cultivators of humble origins to grow into experts without the support of a large force. Talent was the foundation of a cultivator's cultivation. Without the support of abundant cultivation resources, even heaven-defying talent was useless. After leaving the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce, he brought the two elders, Quan Lin and Quan Jun, back to the Star Billow God Realm's secret realm. The Star Billow Realm Lord had already arranged a secret realm for Su Fong to cultivate in. A high-ranking member of the Star Billow God Realm brought Su Fong to the back of the secret realm. Mo Fenghua, this is the place that the Realm Lord has specially arranged for you. This is the token. The higher-ups handed a token to Su Fong, then flew away. If there's nothing else, we brothers will return to the training hall first. Feel free to contact us if you need anything, Quan Lin said to Su Fong in embarrassment. Even though the brothers had been ordered to protect Su Fong, it was impossible for them to stay by Su Fong's side at all times. This place was the core of the Star Billow God Realm, so there was no need for them to fear that someone would sneak in and harm Su Fong. Thank you for your trouble. After the Quan brothers left, Su Fong activated the token. The space in front of him suddenly distorted and enveloped Su Fong. Then, he was pulled into a distorted formation. The formation kept jumping, and when everything returned to normal, Su Fong arrived at a small independent plane created from the natural void. This was the secret realm that the Star Billow God Realm's special disciples cultivated in. When he focused his eyes, he saw that this place was a 1,000 kilometers wide object. Mountains and forests were everywhere, and the natural spirit energy of heaven and earth was abnormally abundant. Su Fong could even sense the pure world energy of the Star Billow God Realm. The secret realm was imperceptibly protected by layers of formations. The cultivation environment here could be called the best in the entire Star Billow God Realm, so there was no need to worry about anyone disturbing them. Su Fong released Bai Ling, Qin Yu, and many of his subordinates from his inner world. Even Huang Lingyao, Zhu Yan, and Yu Miaomei were let out for a breath of fresh air. Being cut off from the natural world for a long time was not good for their cultivation. Brother, this is your secret realm? It's really not bad. As expected of my brother, you can do well even in the myriad of worlds. Bai Ling cheered and pulled Yu Miaomei to fly to a green mountain and clear water. Qin Yu and his other subordinates were also arranged by Su Fong to various places. They built their own cave abodes and settled into a state of cultivation. Su Fong, I didn't expect you to have such shocking achievements after ascending to the myriad of worlds. Huang Lingyao looked at Su Fong with shock and other complicated emotions in her eyes. Huang Lingyao's current cultivation level was close to that of a demigod, which was equivalent to the mortal evolution state among mortals in the myriad of worlds. However, her strength was much stronger than a mortal evolution state in the god realm. Su Fong planned to wait for Huang Lingyao to become a god before leaving. The world was vast, and she could do whatever she wanted. With this woman's scheming and talent, she would definitely be able to make a name for herself in the myriad of worlds. However, Su Fong wasn't worried that she would pose any threat. Su Fong, you're indeed the man who took my virginity. Huang Lingyao smiled at Su Fong. Su Fong couldn't help but be stunned. He smiled bitterly and touched the tip of his nose. Luo laughed loudly in his body again. Huang Lingyao strode towards a mountain peak. With her current strength, she still couldn't fly. If it weren't for the formation protection outside the secret realm, even the natural shackles of the myriad of worlds wouldn't be able to withstand it. Looking at Huang Lingyao's proud but graceful figure, Su Fong thought of the past. He shook his head and smiled. Then, he formed a seal, and the shadow of Huang Lingyao's primordial spirit condensed from the Xian Guang in his palm. Fenghua, have you stayed in the secret realm that the Realm Lord arranged for you? Don't worry and cultivate. Grandfather will take care of things outside for you. You don't need to be distracted. The Battle of Kamiko Hoshino had just ended. The people of Koan Su's divine sect were still living on the mountain peak. Naturally, Xianlingzi was the one who helped Su Fang receive the guests from various forces. Looking at Xianlingzi's glowing face, he was obviously proud of his success and elated. "Thank you, grandfather." Su Fang felt somewhat guilty toward Xianlingzi. He had been hesitating when to tell him the truth. "It's my grandson's marriage. As a grandfather, it's nothing." "Grandfather, wait. What marriage are you talking about?" Xianlingzi's words shocked Su Fang. He quickly interrupted Xianlingzi. "It's not a big deal. It's just that some of the higher-ups of the Star Below God realm, as well as other forces and important figures of small worlds, want to marry their women to you." Su Fang's scalp went numb. "Grandfather, you agreed?" They all prepared generous gifts and personally came to propose marriage. Moreover, grandfather saw that each of those women were outstanding beauties. "How could I have the nerve to refuse?" Boom! Su Fang's head seemed to explode with thunder, shocking him until he was dumbstruck. With great difficulty, Su Fang calmed his breathing and asked, "What's the woman's name? What's her cultivation? What's her background?" Xianlingzi revealed a troubled expression. "There are a total of 75 women. Which one are you asking about?" Su Fang staggered and almost fell to the ground. "Grandfather, you found 75 Tao companions for me? Not only that. There will definitely be many who will come to propose marriage. As long as the gifts are generous enough and the woman's appearance is passable, I will reluctantly accept her as my granddaughter-in-law." Su Fang almost fainted from anger. "Grandfather, you're simply too absurd." "Absurd?" Xianlingzi chuckled. "Do you think I don't know what kind of character you have? You stole the underwear of the female disciples of Kuan Su's divine sect and flirted with others behind my back. Now that you've become Kamiko Hoshino, can you still change your character?" Su Fang was suddenly speechless. Moreover, these big shots who came to propose marriage are not stupid at all. They just saw that you're about to soar to the sky and took this opportunity to climb up to you. As for whether you and their women become Tao companions or have intercourse, they don't care. I took the opportunity to get a lot of benefits for you. This is called mutual consent, you know? Xianlingzi was also a shrewd old man. He saw the intentions of these big shots at a glance. Of course, if you can give birth to a boy or a girl with these women, that's even better. These children have your bloodline, and their cultivation talent must be amazing. These big shots even promised that as long as they have children in the future, they will be the heirs of their families. Think about it, more than 70 families will fall into your control in the future. Where can you find such a good thing? This time, it can be said that you've gained both wealth and women. How about it? I'm smart enough, right? Xianlingzi beamed with joy and was very proud. The shadow of his primordial spirit also dissipated. Su Fang imagined the terrifying scene of more than 70 Tao companions. His whole body felt cold, as if he had fallen into an ice cave. At this time, when Luo spoke, of course, it wouldn't be anything good. "Good, this is great. Su Fang, I congratulate you in advance. Mo Fenghua is a womanizer by nature. I couldn't find the original reason. After a long time, the original reason is Xianlingzi." Su Fang was speechless and smiled bitterly. Su Fang put aside the matter of marriage and let Xianlingzi do whatever he wanted. Anyway, it was already like this. It didn't matter if he had more Tao companions. Su Fang closed the secret realm. He found a mountain and opened up a cave. He entered the time cave to settle down and entered a state of cultivation. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, more than 300 years had passed. Su Fang had been cultivating in seclusion in the time cave for more than 3,000 years. In the continuous cultivation and settling down, Su Fang's strength was constantly improving. Not only were some of the drawbacks caused by the rapid improvement in the Battle of the God Sun were all eliminated by Su Fang, the divine origin in his divine dwelling was also constantly stepping into the peak of the 8th heaven of the heavenly God realm and was about to step into the 9th heaven. The cultivation of the world was also rapidly improving. At this time, Su Fang's ability to control the world was even surpassing the middle-level divine emperor. The small world in his body was also constantly changing. Chapter 1966. Su Fang began to use the 9 Yang 9 transformations to attack the 59th Yang meridian. Even the power of the yin-yang world of the world tree poured into this meridian. A wave of tsunami-like impact made the Yang meridian even more like a jade meridian. More than a year later, the 59th meridian finally calmed down from the burning Yang energy flames and turned into a jade-like Yang meridian. The newly born Yang meridian quickly approached the yin-yang Tao wheel. At the end of the 58th Yang meridian, the tail connected and became a part of the yin-yang Tao wheel. The birth of another Yang meridian means that I'm one step closer to the 7th transformation. My strength has also increased, and my ability to control the origin sacred mirror has also increased. Su Fang wiped the sweat off his head and revealed a joyful smile. Then, Su Fang continued to devour pills and spiritual items to cultivate the 9 Yang 9 transformations to replenish the Yang energy consumed by the birth of the 59th Yang meridian. When the Yang meridian calmed down, Su Fang returned to the time and space cave abode. His body quickly transformed into the Yellow Springs blood sea state, and Su Fang's physical body condensed in the blood water. These were all Su Fang's blood water clones. Each clone looked exactly the same as the original body, which meant that their main cultivation methods and divine abilities were different, and the aura they exuded was completely different. Next, Su Fang crazily devoured pills and spiritual items, including the spiritual liquid concocted by the creation saint pill, the blood crystal containing majestic vitality, and the fire type and pure yang energy spiritual items. At this time, Su Fang mainly cultivated the 9 Yang 9 transformations, Heaven's secret life shrinking technique, Heaven's divination mystery, and the great Tao of time, Night Demon's undying soul code. He also persisted in cultivating the illusory fire cloud, ethereal truth, and Yellow Springs reincarnation art. As for the cultivation methods and divine abilities that he cultivated in the Kuan Su divine realm, Su Fang no longer continued to cultivate. Black Lotus True Body, Dragon Subduing True Body, and other true bodies, Su Fang relied on constantly devouring various spiritual items to transform his true body's physique. As a result, not only did the physique of his true body become stronger, but the world tree was also growing stronger. In addition, he continued to cultivate with the power of the world, and his ability to control the world, as well as the world in his body, was constantly improving. Su Fang was also in the process of further integration of various magic treasures. With the purple Chi Dharma spirit's ability to control magic treasures, coupled with its supernatural powers, it could unleash extraordinary power. This time, Su Fang settled down for another 100 years. He had cultivated in the Time Immortal's abode for 1,000 years. During this period, Huang Lingyao finally succeeded in passing the primal chaos divine tribulation. Su Fang sent his subordinates to the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce and exchanged a chaos Dao fruit for a high-grade earth-level godhead for her to fuse with. When Huang Lingyao's cultivation stabilized at the first sky of True God realm, Su Fang gave her the Cloud Sky Lightning Sword as well as some resources. The Cloud Sky Lightning Sword was one of the famous 10 Great Tao artifacts in the Great World, but it had already lost its use in the Myriad World. However, the Cloud Sky Lightning Sword hid the consciousness of Mother Yun's primordial spirit. Huang Lingyao deeply hated Mother Yun, so Su Fang naturally wanted to give her the Cloud Sky Lightning Sword. Su Fang, I won't thank you. I hope to see you reach the peak of the myriad worlds, just like you did in the small world and great world. Before leaving, Huang Lingyao said coldly, "The God realm is dangerous. Take care of yourself." Su Fang sent one of his subordinates to escort Huang Lingyao out of the Star Below God realm's secret realm, all the way to the realm-crossing stargate of the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce, and watched her go to the other God realms. After Huang Lingyao left, Su Fang's heart suddenly felt empty. From the small world's celestial ceiling gate all the way to the great world, the two of them had endless grievances. After parting like this, they would never have the chance to meet again, which made Su Fang feel somewhat uncomfortable. At this time, Law said faintly, "You have more than 100 Dao companions now, and you don't lack Huang Lingyao. Why are you still a bit reluctant after Huang Lingyao left?" "Law, you're starting to be indecent again." Su Fang's mood was somewhat inexplicably low, and he was not in the mood to joke with Law. At the mention of Dao companions, Su Fang was very depressed. Just as Su Fang was cultivating in seclusion, Xian Lingzi actually agreed to many marriage alliances, causing Su Fang's Dao companions to reach an astonishing 108. At this time, in the Star Billow Divine Realm, Su Fang's good reputation of being greedy for beauty had long been spread. Some people snorted at it, some said Su Fang was licentious, and some thought that a peerless genius should be like this. Of course, Su Fang did not know what people were saying, and he definitely did not plan to take these 100 or so women as his Dao companions. When the time came, he would just directly run away. However, the heavy gifts that Xian Lingzi accepted were all accepted by Su Fang. At this time, Su Fang's wealth was not even comparable to some of the great elders of the Star Billow Divine Realm. However, Su Fang's expenses were also incomparably shocking. Even if he had a mountain of resources, sooner or later, he would run out of resources. Cultivation knew no time. With the passage of time, Su Fang had already cultivated in the secret realm for nearly 1,000 years. During this time, Bai Ling successfully broke through the bottleneck, and now her strength had surpassed the heavenly god realm. Moreover, she had the Chaos Ring, and after ascending to the myriad realms, she had obtained the Chaos Path divine ability from the Chaos Heaven Monarch. At this time, her true strength was no longer comparable to that of an ordinary lower divine emperor. The one who improved the fastest was still Qin Yu. His strength was now catching up to Su Fang, and in addition to his innate ability, besides Su Fang, his strength was second only to Bai Ling Undead Monarch, Sunflower Mermaid, Fire Lizard, and the dozen or so experts that he had subdued in the Sui Yu Cave also improved by leaps and bounds. However, compared to Bai Ling and Qin Yu, they were still far behind Gui Gui and Long Niao. After Yu Miaomei, Zhu Yan, and Zi Zhan consumed the Chaos Dao fruit, their improvement was also incomparably shocking, but there was still a big gap between them and the divine realm. After a long period of consolidation, Su Fang broke through the shackles of the peak 8th heavenly god realm, stepped into the 9th heavenly god realm, and quickly stabilized to his normal state. Only by reaching the divine emperor realm can I show my talent in the Star Field's Godchild competition. My current strength is still far from enough. The Star Field's Godchild competition would gather the peerless geniuses of the entire Star Field. Although it was impossible for all of them to be peerless geniuses like Bai Holan and Song Jie, one could imagine how intense the competition would be. There were still 9,000 years before the Star Field's Godchild competition. If Su Fang only relied on secluded cultivation, it was obviously not enough. Moreover, Su Fang found that the method of consuming elixirs and spiritual items to improve his cultivation was gradually slowing down. Fortunately, Su Fang had a perfect physical body and cultivated the Fire Cloud Emperor physique at the same time, so he could refine all the remaining impurities in the body of elixirs and spiritual items. Otherwise, just these remaining impurities alone were enough to make it difficult for a god to cultivate in the future. This was the disadvantage of relying on resources to improve one's cultivation. When I reach the peak of the 9th heavenly god realm, I need to go out to experience and look for fortuitous encounters and opportunities. Only then can I quickly improve my cultivation and make up for my lack of cultivation. Su Fang made up his mind and once again settled into his cultivation state. On this day, suddenly a rune in his body stirred. When he took it out to take a look, Xian Lingzi's voice sounded. Fenghua, I'm going to attend the banquet again. I reckon you'll have another Tao companion. Of course, I'll also give you a generous gift. You brat, you've been in seclusion for so long. It's time for you to come out and take a look at your more than 100 beautiful Tao companions. If you can give birth to hundreds or thousands of grandchildren for me, I didn't dote on you for nothing. You really think I'm a pig? Su Fang smiled helplessly and put away the rune in a depressed manner. More than 10 days later, Quan Lin, who was sent by the Star Billow Realm Lord to protect Su Fang, directly sent a voice transmission from outside the secret realm. Mo Fenghua, Piercing Metal specially asked me to bring you something. He said it's very important and asked me to give it to you immediately. Piercing Metal? Su Fang raised his eyebrows and reached out. A storage ring was caught in his hand. A wisp of essence spirit consciousness slowly entered the storage ring. The storage ring was empty, with only a wooden box and a jade slip inside. Taking out the wooden box and opening it, Su Fang's divine light instantly changed. It turned out that there was a palm in the wooden box. There were still traces of blood on it, and the remaining life aura belonged to Xianlingzi. Su Fang grabbed the jade slip and poured his magic power into it. The jade slip quickly melted and turned into a phantom of piercing metal, and a cold voice came out. Mo Fenghua, Xianlingzi is a guest at Lan Hao Training Hall. If you don't come in 3 days, then wait to collect his corpse. Remember, you can only come alone. You can't tell anyone else, or else, you'll have to bear the consequences. Boom. A burst of flame power exploded, and the phantom of piercing metal disappeared. Piercing metal, you deserve to die. Su Fang gritted his teeth, and his eyes burned with a shocking flame that was more than a foot long. Although Xianlingzi wasn't a real relative, after so many years together, Su Fang had long regarded him as his grandfather. Piercing Metal dared to capture Xianlingzi in the secret realm of the Star Billow Divine Realm and use his life as a hostage. How could Su Fang not be angry? Luo reminded, Piercing Metal is one of the top special disciples in the Star Billow Divine Realm. He's definitely not an ordinary person, but he did such a crazy thing without considering the consequences. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Be careful of traps. Luo, I understand. Even if it's a mountain of blades or a sea of flames, I have to go this time. Su Fang's body emitted a terrifying murderous aura that quickly spread throughout the secret realm. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Qing Yu, Bai Ling, and the other subordinates all gathered and were taken into Su Fang's body. Su Fang passed through the formation, flew out of the secret realm, and headed for Lan Hao Training Hall. Lan Hao Training Hall was one of the many training halls in the Star Billow Divine Realm, and it was also Piercing Metal's training hall. After flying for more than 2 hours in the inner world of the Star Billow Divine Realm, Su Fang came to a void filled with rolling clouds. Piercing Metal, I'm here. Open the barrier. Su Fang roared angrily at the clouds, and his voice caused the clouds to roll violently. You're not slow. I thought you wouldn't dare to come. Piercing Metal's proud voice came from the depths of the clouds. Then, the clouds condensed into a formation passage, and Su Fang stepped into it without hesitation. Chapter 1967. Su Fang recovered from the discomfort caused by the teleportation formation. When he looked carefully, he saw a vast blue ocean in front of him. The waves were turbulent and vast, and a wave of water element natural force rushed toward him. On the ocean, there were small islands floating. Palaces, pavilions, and forests covered the islands. Lan Hao Dojo. The entire dojo was a vast ocean. It wasn't naturally formed, but an oceanic world created by a supreme divine ability. Su Fang activated his great perfection ability, and at the same time, he used the life-shrinking technique to sense Xianlingzi's aura. Sure enough, Su Fang sensed Xianlingzi's aura in the depths of the ocean. Although it was a little chaotic, it seemed to be fine. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Su Fang also sensed a few very familiar auras on the island where Xianlingzi was. Piercing Metal by Shen Zhouquanga, Xia Qijuan Ji Xingyue, and a middle-level divine emperor of the fifth sky of the divine emperor realm. After Xia Qijuan was expelled from Kuan Su's divine sect, Su Fang did not take him seriously. He did not expect that he would jump out at this time and join forces with Piercing Metal and the others. And Ji Xingyue, he did not give up. So it's Xia Qijuan and Ji Xingyue who ordered Piercing Metal and Bai Shen to kill me. It's unlikely to be Xia Qijuan. He doesn't have the power. Only Ji Xingyue, who has the powerful Ji people behind him, is qualified to order Piercing Metal and the others. They obviously want to use my grandfather as bait and try to kill me. How can I, Su Fang, let you do as you wish? Su Fang's deep eyes exuded a trace of coldness. Piercing Metal and the others were not a concern. Only the middle-level divine emperor that Su Fang was afraid of. But Su Fang was fearless. No matter what the other party's conspiracy was, the only way was to kill a bloody path and save Xianlingzi. A shadow of Piercing Metal's nascent spirit appeared in front of him. Piercing Metal, you took my family. Aren't you afraid that the Realm Lord will find out and punish you severely? Su Fang let out a thunderous shout. The immortal soul of Piercing Metal smiled coldly and embarrassedly. Mo Fenghua, you must have misunderstood. I invited Senior Xianlingzi here with no ill intentions. No malice? Not bad. You're number one in the Kamiko Hoshino battle. Not just me, but many other Kamiko Hoshino and special disciples admire you. That's why they want to ask you for advice. Piercing Metal's soul revealed a mocking expression. Soon after, he smiled and said, however, when I challenged you, you repeatedly avoided the battle and refused to teach me. Thus, I discussed with the others and came up with this plan. We tried to invite Senior Xianlingzi to bring you here so that you can teach us. Su Fang said with a murderous look, I won't let you down. I'll teach you well. You chopped off one of my grandfather's hands, so I'll use your limbs to pay for it. If anything happens to him, I'll make you and everyone else who participated in this matter pay with their lives. That's good. I'll wait and see. The immortal soul of Piercing Metal sneered disdainfully. His consciousness disappeared and the immortal soul dissipated into nothingness. Whoosh! Su Fang controlled the silver-streaked sword and swept across the surface of the sea like a stream of light. His fierce, murderous aura and unstoppable momentum set off a wave. The wave followed his body and extended into the depths of the sea. It was a shocking sight. Deep in the ocean, on an island that was 100 miles wide, there was a magnificent palace that seemed to be made of gold. It was magnificent and domineering. Inside the palace, more than a dozen young elites gathered in front of a jade wall. The scene displayed on the jade wall was the scene of Su Fang entering Lan Hao's dojo. Piercing Metal by Shen Zhouquanga and the other Star Billow God Realm geniuses, as well as Xia Qijuan and Ji Xingyue, were among them. In the shadow of a corner of the palace, a middle-aged man sat cross-legged. He was dressed in gray and his aura was empty. His entire person seemed to have merged with the shadows. He was obviously a powerful expert. Piercing Metal, you captured Xianlingzi and lured Mo Fenghua to Lan Hao's dojo. If you really killed him, the higher-ups will investigate. Will there be any problems? Zhouquanga asked worriedly. Among the many Kamiko Hoshino geniuses, Zhouquanga was the most arrogant and condescending. However, to be able to become a special disciple, not only did he have talent, he also had shrewdness. This time, Piercing Metal had invited many special disciples to deal with Su Fang, saying that he wanted to ruthlessly humiliate him. Apart from Bai Holan, most of the special disciples who had become Star Billow's godsons had participated. Naturally, Zhouquanga had agreed without hesitation. Now that things had come to a head, Zhouquanga saw that outsiders like Xia Qijuan and Ji Xingyue had also participated. Xia Qijuan even brought a powerful expert. It was obvious that they wanted to kill Su Fang and not just defeat him and humiliate him. Zhou Kuanga faintly felt that something was wrong. This time, he seemed to have been used by piercing metal and by Shen. The Starwave Realm Lord valued Su Fong greatly. If something happened to him in Lan Hao's dojo, or even if he was killed, how could the Starwave Realm Lord let the matter rest? A voice filled with resentment sounded. Zhou Kuanga, could it be that you're afraid of that bastard Mo Fenghua? The person who spoke was Bai Shen. His eyes were destroyed by Su Fong's heaven-burning eye and he couldn't recover them, no matter how hard he tried. It was easy to imagine how much resentment he had for Su Fong. Zhou Kuanga's arrogance was revealed. Me? Afraid of Mo Fenghua? He became the #1 god of the Starwave realm through trickery. Why would I be afraid of him? Zhou Kuanga, don't worry. This time, I've invited several hundred special disciples. Just Kamiko Hoshino alone, there are more than 30 of them. Taking care of Mo Fenghua will be easy. Defeat Mo Fenghua and humiliate him. Let the entire Starwave realm and the Realm Lord see that Mo Fenghua, the so-called #1 god, is just a piece of trash. Piercing Metal said domineeringly. After that, Piercing Metal laughed coldly. As for Sir Ji and Sir Xia, their grudges with Mo Fenghua have nothing to do with us. Besides, if Mo Fenghua dies, will the Realm Lord punish us special disciples because of a dead person? The law cannot punish the majority. The Realm Lord still needs us to participate in the Starfield Godchild competition. When the time comes, not only will he not punish us, he will even value us more. Piercing Metal's words made Zhou Kuanga feel a lot more at ease. Mo Fenghua, you little bastard, you're dead for sure this time. Mo Fenghua, even if these Starwave Realm geniuses can't kill you, the soulless expert I brought can easily kill you. It's time for the grudges between you and me to be completely settled. Ji Xingyue and Xia Qijuan looked at Su Fong on the jade wall. Both of their faces were filled with complacency and malevolence. Su Fong flew above the ocean for a dozen breaths. After encountering layers of barriers, he had no choice but to fly toward an island in front of him. A figure slowly rose from the island. It was a young cultivator who looked to be in his 20s. His cultivation was at the first heaven of the Divine Emperor realm, and he was a special disciple of the Starwave realm. I am Ding Qian. I refuse to accept you as the #1 godchild of the Starwave realm, so I challenge you. If you defeat me, you can enter the next island through the spatial formation. If you lose, kowtow 3 times, lick my shoes clean, and get out of the Starwave realm. The special disciple of the Starwave realm shouted domineeringly. Scram! Su Fong roared angrily and charged at Ding Qian with the silver-streaked sword. Whoosh! When he was still 3,000 meters away from Ding Qian, the silver-streaked sword under Su Fong's feet shot out. A silver light with sharp sword energy swept toward Ding Qian. At the same time, Su Fong struck out a seal. The aura of the great Tao of Earth enveloped Ding Qian, and the surrounding space immediately fell into a chaotic state of gravity and repulsion. To be able to drive a mid-grade flying sword to such an extent and also grasp the grand Tao law of Earth, he can barely be considered a genius. Relying on this to become the #1 godchild of Xinglan is truly laughable. Ding Qian sneered disdainfully. A mighty aura burst out of him like a tidal wave, shattering Su Fong's Earth Divine aura layer by layer. The silver-streaked sword was also knocked askew by the endless waves. Su Fong activated the Winged Divine tool, and like a nimble and agile hummingbird, he instantly flew across a distance of thousands of meters. A majestic Earth Elemental Divine might forcefully and tyrannically cut a gap in Ding Qian's divine might, and then he punched out with his fist. Mountain driving art. Boom! The terrifying power, which was like 9 mountains piled on top of each other, along with Su Fong's god body explosion, crashed toward Ding Qian. Mountain driving art. I was defeated by the mountain driving art. Mo Fenghua, how dare you humiliate me like this? Ding Qian was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. His body was shattered and he fell into the sea. Mountain driving art is enough for trash like you. Su Fong sneered domineeringly. He put away his silver-streaked sword and flew to the island. He scanned the island with his great perfection ability and found the location of the spatial array. With the help of the spatial array, Su Fong teleported out of the island. When he reappeared, he was already on an island hundreds of thousands of miles away. Another special disciple rushed over. "Mo Fenghua, you killed senior brother Bai Shen. I'm going to." Before this genius could finish his words, he was greeted by an overwhelming formless fire cloud saber. The terrifying flaming saber light engulfed him. Su Fong took the opportunity to land on the island and teleported to another island behind it through the spatial array. After breaking through more than a dozen islands, Su Fong encountered a strong enemy. They were all special disciples of Kamiko Hoshino. Not only were their cultivations at the low-level God-sovereign realm, but the divine abilities and divine artifacts they possessed were not something that ordinary special disciples could compare with. Su Fong no longer conserved his divine essence and magic power. He executed his powerful divine abilities and divine artifact. Like a hot knife through butter, he charged toward the island where penetrating metal and stone was. He was unstoppable and unstoppable. Mo Fenghua is not a complete trash to be able to obtain the recognition of Lord Zhu Yanjun and Lord Realm Lord. He is qualified for me to take action. Chapter 1968. Just as Zhou Kuanga was about to attack, Ji Xingyue snorted and said, "Mo Fenghua has some powerful moves. What he's showing now isn't his true strength. Godson Zhou Kuanga, please wait patiently and figure out his true strength." Piercing Metal sneered, "Zhou Kuanga, I've prepared many powerful moves for Mo Fenghua this time. Just wait and see. The two of you really think highly of Mo Fenghua. You also have the intention to kill him. Then I'll wait and see how powerful you two are. It'll be best if you don't need me." Zhou Kuanga saw that Ji Xingyue and Piercing Metal wanted to kill Su Fong, so he gave up on the idea of attacking. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Su Fong was sent to the sky above an island by a spatial distortion. The moment he appeared, 14 disciples of the Star Billow God realm appeared around him. These people were all in the Divine Emperor realm. They weren't special disciples of the Star Billow God realm, and they were all among the top 100 Kamiko Hoshino. They definitely weren't ordinary special disciples. Mo Fenghua die. More than a dozen Kamiko Hoshino charged at Su Fong. There were also a few geniuses who didn't want to participate in the encirclement because of their status and strength. They just stood there and watched the battle. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Su Fong activated the Flying Divine Artifact and used the Fire Cloud Steps and the Great Tao of Time at the same time. Relying on his extremely nimble movement and the time difference caused by the Great Tao of Time, he shuttled through the dozen or so geniuses like a fish. These dozen or so Kamiko Hoshino were all powerful, but no one could compare to Su Fong's Flying Divine Artifact and Fire Cloud Step. Adding on the Great Tao of Time, they couldn't catch Su Fong's figure at all. And Su Fong was like a ghost. As long as he found an opening, he would immediately launch the fiercest attack at these geniuses. After an incense stick's worth of time, the dozen or so geniuses, except for those who were watching from afar, were all injured. 2 of them were seriously injured and had to withdraw from the battle. Mo Fenghua, fight this god's son. One of the geniuses who was watching the battle from afar couldn't hold back any longer. He shouted coldly, and the other geniuses stepped aside. The prodigy stepped through the air and swept out with a terrifying, surging presence. It stirred up the power of water in the surroundings, gathering it into a shocking wave that crushed towards Su Fong. The shocking pressure and restraining force enveloped Su Fong. You have the strength of the third sky of the godly emperor layer, and you've mastered the great Tao of water to such an extent. You're not ordinary. You must be in the top 10 of Kamiko Hoshino. When Su Fang's words of praise fell into the ears of this genius, it was the greatest mockery. He immediately exploded with a furious roar. "Mo Fenghua, you are truly arrogant to the extreme. I am Sun Haoran, ranked 6th among the star-billow divine suns. You actually dare to disregard me?" Boom! Boom! The terrifying waves swept up, forming a 1,000-foot-tall wave peak, crashing down on Su Fang. It looked like it was about to engulf Su Fang. Frost Seal the Universe. Su Fang activated the divine weapon, Frost Seal the Universe, and a divine power that could freeze the world burst out. Rustle! Rustle! The thick water vapor in the surroundings quickly condensed into ice shards and icicles that fell down. Sun Haoran's terrifying water divine power was quickly frozen under the divine power of Frost Seal the Universe. Frost Seal the Universe was a supreme-grade divine weapon that Su Fang had taken from Mo Yuntian. After so many years of fusion, in addition to the Purple Chi Dharma Spirit's supreme ability to control divine weapons, the power of Frost Seal the Universe was now more than 70%. Moreover, Frost Seal the Universe's ability ingeniously restrained water divine powers, suppressing Sun Haoran's astonishing attack. Whoosh! Su Fang's body suddenly burst into flames like a man on fire. He burned a path through the frozen waves and rushed towards Sun Haoran. The first divine sun is indeed extraordinary. It seems that everyone has underestimated your strength. Let me have a taste of your true strength. 10,000 waves peak, suppress. Layers of wave-like aura surged out of Sun Haoran's body and gathered in his right arm. Then, he threw a punch at Su Fang, who was close to him. Natal form. Su Fang merged the power of his subordinates into his body through the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Then, like Sun Haoran, he threw a punch. Rumble! The collision between the two incomparably tyrannical forces caused an earth-shattering commotion. Kimiko Hoshino, who was around, was shaken by the force of the impact. It was difficult for him to stay in the air. Under the impact of the violent energy, the protective formations of the island below were broken layer by layer. The island shook and almost sank. The seawater surged to both sides, forming a 1,000-foot-tall wave that rolled out. The power of the collision between experts in the Divine Emperor realm was terrifying. Su Fang seemed to have been hit by the stormy wave. His entire right arm was broken, his flesh and bones were broken. His divine body was also badly injured. His internal organs were severely injured. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood with pieces of his internal organs. He immediately swallowed a recovery elixir and activated the Nether Blood Sea in his body. At the same time, he also activated the Black Lotus Real Body and the Dragon Subduing Real Body. The Dragon Subduing Real Body, in particular, had absorbed a large amount of divine dragon blood chi and dragon chi in the trial peak. Thus, Su Fang's recovery ability had reached an astonishing level. It only took 3 or 4 breaths of time. Su Fang's injuries were not serious to begin with. Now, he had recovered to his peak state. More than a dozen Kimiko Hoshino wanted to take advantage of the situation. However, they did not expect Su Fang to recover in such a short time. They were all shocked and stepped back. Looking at Sun Haoran, he was also seriously injured. His right fist had completely disappeared in the collision. His body was full of cracks and blood splattered everywhere. Mo Fenghua, you are really strong. I, Sun Haoran, am no match for you. You are qualified to be the first divine son of Xinglan. Let's go. Sun Haoran was a straightforward person. Knowing that he was no match for Su Fang, he immediately flew to the island with the 6 special disciples. Although the other Kimiko Hoshino were not convinced, they knew that it was impossible for them to stop Su Fang. They could only leave resentfully. When Piercing Metal and the others saw this scene, the palace suddenly fell into a short silence. After the Kimiko Hoshino conference, many people were not convinced of Su Fang because Bai Holan did not win the title of the first divine son. Under the deliberate exaggeration of some people, the impression was that Su Fang won the title of the first divine son by cheating and Zhu Yanjun's favoritism. As for his true strength, he could not withstand a single blow. No one expected that Sun Haoran, who was ranked 6th among the Kimiko Hoshino, would not be able to withstand a single blow from Su Fang. Moreover, Su Fang's astonishing recovery ability also shocked everyone in the palace. The trash that I trampled under my feet and bullied at my will has grown to such an astonishing level in less than 100,000 years. Even I am no match for him now. All of this is due to the prehistoric inflammation. If Mo Fenghua had not taken away the prehistoric inflammation in the Eldritch ruins, everything of his would have been mine. Xia Qijuan stared at Su Fang on the jade wall. In addition to surprise and shock, there was also a strong killing intent and intense jealousy in his eyes. This young master has already said that Mo Fenghua's strength is extraordinary. What does it look like now? Moreover, he has also mastered my clan's time great Dao divine ability, the Arrow of Time. Its power is unparalleled, and it can pierce through metal and stone. I'm afraid that your powerful methods will not be able to stop him. Ji Xingyue thought back to the time when she was almost killed by Su Fang in the Kuan Su God sect. Her father, Ji Ong, was ravaged by Su Fang like he was cutting chives, and her eyes were filled with fear. Piercing Metal sneered domineeringly. Young Master Ji, don't praise Mo Fenghua's ambition. How can the methods that I have specially prepared for Mo Fenghua be limited to only these? As long as he steps onto the main island we are on, he will be trapped in the 7-terminal 7-slaughter array. Just as Piercing Metal was speaking, Su Fang was teleported to the huge island they were on through the spatial array. The moment he appeared, he was immediately trapped in an astonishingly powerful array. The surrounding natural aura of heaven and earth surged over and instantly sealed off the surrounding space. Then, sharp sword aura, rumbling thunder, monstrous flames, and all kinds of terrifying forces that were formed by nature came crashing down on Su Fang from all directions. It looked like Su Fang was about to be engulfed. Piercing Metal said proudly, "This is an array that I have specially prepared for Mo Fenghua. It is called the 7-terminal 7-slaughter array. The array is divided into 7 layers of restrictions. It operates the divine aura of heaven and earth. Even if a high-level god emperor enters the array, he will, before Piercing Metal could finish his smug words, a golden beam of light shot out from the array formation. The golden beam instantly pierced through the layers of array formations and restrictions as if they were only in name. The golden rainbow paused in the air. Then, after a flash of golden light, Su Fang's figure appeared. Piercing Metal was flabbergasted. He exclaimed in disbelief, "This is impossible. How is this possible?" Ji Xingyue was indeed a powerful Ji people. She immediately saw through the clues. This bastard has a powerful divine artifact that can break through arrays and restrictions. Your 7-terminal 7-slaughter array is useless against him. This bastard Mo Fenghua is getting more and more troublesome. Leave it to me. However, I have to say this first. If Mo Fenghua is suppressed, the divine artifact that can break through arrays and restrictions that he used just now will belong to me," Zhou Kuanga said domineeringly. Then, he strode out of the palace and flew into the sky. "Mo Fenghua, do you dare to fight with me, Zhou Kuanga?" Zhou Kuanga shouted loudly. A tyrannical aura surged up and covered the surrounding 100 miles. "Get lost. I don't want to kill anyone. Let Piercing Metal come out." Su Fang shouted and rushed towards the palace. "You want to kill me, Zhou Kuanga? I would like to see what qualifications you have to be ranked as Kimiko Hoshino." Zhou Kuanga let out a wild roar and the sound waves swept out. The empty space was like the surface of a lake swept by a gale, and ripples appeared on it. Su Fang was engulfed by the sound waves. His aura shattered layer by layer. Then, his body was shaken to the point that it turned into tiny particles. His body was badly mutilated. Chapter 1969. Mo Fenghua, I'll make you, the so-called number one god's son, kneel and lick my feet. Zhou Kuanga laughed wildly. He was wild and domineering. His laughter swept across the area. As the violent sound waves swept across the area, Zhou Kuanga activated a flying sword and slashed at Su Fang. Zhou Kuanga's sword intent carried a violent and domineering aura. Like a raging wind, it slashed at Su Fang again and again with a terrifying aura that could split the heavens and earth. The sword chi set off a series of buzzing sounds, forming a strange vibrating force. It had a terrifying divine might that could make people fall into madness. Su Fang activated the silver-streaked sword, but it was quickly defeated by Zhou Kuanga's sword intent. His 7 apertures were also bleeding from the vibrating sound waves caused by the sword chi. His primordial spirit and consciousness were also affected. Under Zhou Kuanga's suppression, Su Fang could only rely on his heaven-prying eye to see what was going on. Then, he activated his flying divine artifact to dodge in advance. He looked battered and exhausted. Inside the main hall, Piercing Metal's face was full of shock. Zhou Kuanga's current strength is much stronger than during the God's Son competition. He's even catching up to Song Jie. Ji Xingyue said with a smile, although his strength isn't ordinary, his brain isn't very good. Isn't he still being used by you as a tool? It would be even better if Zhou Kuanga killed Mo Fenghua. That way, all the punishment would fall on Zhou Kuanga. It wouldn't have anything to do with you, Piercing Metal. Young Master Ji must be joking. Zhou Kuanga is my fellow disciple. How could I do such a despicable thing? Piercing Metal chuckled. A trace of coldness seeped out from his deep eyes. Mo Fenghua, didn't you say in the Thousand Illusions Fog Domain that cultivators should walk their own great Tao? I have to thank you. It was because of your words that I was enlightened and comprehended my own great Tao. Today, I'll let you see my berserk sword Tao. Zhou Kuanga coldly shouted and launched an even fiercer attack at Su Fang. Waves of violent sword chi crisscrossed and sealed the surrounding area, forming a domineering world of sword intent. Everywhere Su Fang went, violent sword intent was everywhere. Even with the heaven-prying eye, it was hard to avoid the attack. Mo Fenghua, kneel down and beg for mercy. I'll spare your life. If I defeat you, I will be the number one god's son of Xinglan. Ha ha! Zhou Kuanga laughed wildly. To be able to comprehend one of the great Daos of the sword Tao, you're not bad. However, in front of the supreme heavenly Tao of my Su Fang, your Tao can only be crushed. Su Fang snorted in his heart and used the giant diamond body transformation. Crackle! On Su Fang's divine body, streaks of mysterious golden lightning flashed. His body grew crazily, and in the blink of an eye, Su Fang turned into a 3 zhang tall golden giant. Golden heavenly marks appeared on his skin, and his head turned golden. Then, the golden aura condensed into a golden robe around him. Giant diamond body. This was a supreme divine ability that Su Fang had cultivated through the fusion of his yang meridian with his physical body. Moreover, the giant diamond body transformation was one of the most powerful techniques in the Origin Sacred Mirror. Its power surpassed any spell or divine ability. At this time, Su Fang had already cultivated 59 yang meridian. The yang qi in his yang meridian was incomparably vast and majestic. Moreover, his perfect physical body had evolved to an astonishing height. When he used the giant diamond body transformation, its power was naturally incomparably powerful. With Su Fang's current strength, he could use the giant diamond body transformation to transform into a 100 zhang tall giant. However, that would consume a lot of energy. Moreover, Zhou Kuanga was not qualified to make Su Fang use the giant diamond body transformation to become a 3 zhang tall giant. Rustle! Rustle! After forming the seal, a large number of golden marks suddenly appeared on Su Fang's golden robe and tightly stuck to his skin. Indestructible golden body. Zhou Kuanga's tyrannical sword intent landed on Su Fang's body. Golden light rippled on the golden robe, and some of the golden marks shattered. However, Su Fang was not injured at all. He had only consumed some yang qi. At this time, Su Fang was like a god of war that had descended. He was majestic. A supreme domineering aura that dared to fight the heavens and the earth shattered the surrounding sword intent layer by layer. Zhou Kuanga's vibrating sword qi could not affect Su Fang at all. When the sound fell into the giant Su Fang's ears, it was like a mosquito humming. "Mo Fenghua, where did you cultivate this evil technique from?" Zhou Kuanga cried out in shock. It was hard to imagine that Su Fang, with his 9th heavenly layer celestial god cultivation, could actually use such a powerful divine ability. He naturally thought that Su Fang was using an evil cultivation method. "Didn't you want me to kneel and lick your feet? Let's see who kneels now." Su Fang's sonorous voice reverberated out, making Zhou Kuanga tremble in fear. Clang! Su Fang's arms trembled. As he opened and closed them, a golden palm print that was 30 meters in size flew towards Zhou Kuanga. Zhou Kuanga's world of sword intent shattered with a loud bang. It was like a pile of sand piled up by a child. It was crushed to pieces by the hand of the heavens. With a terrifying aura that could suppress everything, it crushed towards Zhou Kuanga. "Break for me!" Zhou Kuanga's eyes flashed with madness and determination. He activated his flying sword and gathered all his strength to slash at the titan palm released by Su Fang. Boom! Zhou Kuanga's flying sword was swatted away like a child's toy. However, Su Fang's titan palm also shattered with a loud bang. Su Fang leapt up like a god of war. With a domineering and crushing aura, he landed 100 meters away from Zhou Kuanga. At this moment, Zhou Kuanga's arrogance was completely gone. His eyes were filled with fear, and he was about to use his movement technique to escape. Who would have thought that Su Fang's arm would stretch out like a bolt of lightning? With a flash of golden light, a huge palm grabbed Zhou Kuanga's neck and pulled him out as if he was grabbing a chicken. "Mo Fenghua, I admit defeat. I admit that you are the #1 god's son of Xinglan." Zhou Kuanga felt that if Su Fang clenched his hand, his body would turn into a pile of meat paste. Moreover, in his gigantified state, Su Fang released an intimidating aura that made Zhou Kuanga, a madman, tremble and almost collapse. "I don't need you to admit that I am the #1 god's son of Xinglan. Although you are arrogant, you are a brainless idiot. You don't even know that you are being used as a tool. Seeing that you don't have any killing intent towards me this time, I will spare your life this time. However, if there is a next time, I will not be merciful. Get lost." Su Fang threw Zhou Kuanga away and quickly entered his gigantified state. Zhou Kuanga's face was full of depression. He had completely lost the will to fight and left the island without saying a word. Although Su Fang did not use his full strength to use the gigantified diamond body, it still consumed a large amount of yang energy. After entering his gigantified state, his aura became much weaker. Piercing Stone flew through the air and shouted, "Mo Fenghua, you killed Bai Shun first, and this time you broke into Lan Hao Training Hall to commit murder in public. Where is the sex law? Don't be arrogant. I, Piercing Stone, will fight you. Let's see how long you can be arrogant." What a despicable and shameless Piercing Stone! Su Fang's eyes suddenly shot out a cold, murderous aura. Piercing Stone captured Xian Lingzi and lured Su Fang to Lan Hao Training Hall. He set up layers of ambushes in order to kill Su Fang. Now that he saw that Su Fang's strength was exhausted, Piercing Stone took action. At the same time, he made a false accusation to avoid the upper echelons of the Star Billow God realm from investigating. Su Fang had seen many such despicable and shameless people in the past, but it was rare to see someone like Piercing Stone. After that, Bai Shen, who had walked out of the palace with piercing metal, said in a loud voice, By Shen, record the entire process of me suppressing Mo Fenghua using a jade slip. I want the entire Star Billow God Realm to see how the so-called number 1 godchild of the Star Billow God Realm is struggling painfully under my piercing metal. Brother Piercing, it's best if you leave him alive and let me vent. Bai Shen replied coldly, his voice full of resentment. As you wish. Piercing Stone laughed proudly. Piercing Stone looked at Su Fang and laughed coldly. Mo Fenghua, I'll take your life while you're sick. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being too arrogant. You even dared to offend the G people. Screech. Piercing Stone struck out a shocking seal. A white Xian Guang split from his palms and condensed into a 300-meter-long giant blade. It fiercely chopped down on Su Fang's head. Su Fang's eyebrows curled. Piercing Stone's swift and fierce slash enveloped the surrounding space. Moreover, this powerful strike contained the aura of the great Tao that could cut through all things. Even the natural laws of the world were shattered. Moreover, Su Fang had a feeling that no matter where he hid, he would not be able to escape the fate of being killed. Su Fang's eyes revealed a serious look. He activated the Yellow Springs Reincarnation Sword and formed a seal with his hands at the same time. He used the 4 Seasons Reincarnation Seal and a divine power of reincarnation revolved around him. Piercing Stone's terrifying attack that could tear through all things collided with Su Fang's divine power of reincarnation. The giant Xian Guang blade was pulled to the side by the divine power of reincarnation. Although it was not able to counterattack, it caused the attack to miss. Screech. Su Fang was hit by a sharp saber light, which slashed his right shoulder. The tough black lotus blood threads could only stop the saber light for a second. Then, the saber light cut off the black lotus blood threads, and his right arm fell off from his god body. Piercing Stone, you deserve to die. Ever since Su Fang ascended, he had been injured many times. However, this was the first time his arm had been severed like this. He grabbed his severed arm and pressed it against his right shoulder. Strands of vitality and black lotus blood threads surged out from his severed arm and fused with it. Very soon, his right arm was restored to its original state. You're actually able to nullify my most powerful attack. Mo Fenghua, you really are quite extraordinary. However, what's the point of putting up a desperate struggle? Piercing Stone sneered disdainfully. At this moment, Ji Xingyue's voice rang out, filled with hatred. Piercing Stone, I want you to sever his limbs until his body can no longer recover. Su Fang had severed the arm of Jiang, as if he was harvesting chives. This was the greatest humiliation that Jiang would never be able to wash away. Ji Xingyue had come to collect the debt for Jiang. Chapter 1970. What a clown! Su Fang inexplicably snorted and activated his fire cloud wings. Like a cloud of fire, he swept across the sky. Just as Piercing Metal was about to use his ability, his divine light suddenly changed and he retreated. Qi. Su Fang was still 1,000 zhang away when a sharp silver sword Qi suddenly shot out from behind Piercing Metal's head. As it turned out, Su Fang had used his great Tao of Time ability. The image of Su Fang that Piercing Metal saw from 1,000 zhang away was an image that was left there a breath ago, and Su Fang had arrived behind Piercing Metal in this time and activated his silver Krite sword to deal a fatal blow. Clang! A shield-shaped golden divine artifact suddenly appeared around Piercing Metal. When Su Fang's silver Krite sword appeared, a golden Xian Guang erupted, forming a layer of protective divine might that tightly protected Piercing Metal. The silver Krite sword struck Piercing Metal's protective divine might and was sent flying with a crisp sound. This golden shield divine artifact was very unique. Without its owner activating it, it could be activated on its own and release the divine might of a magic treasure. Its defensive ability was also extremely powerful. It was clearly a natal divine artifact. Piercing Metal smiled proudly. Mo Fenghua, since I've lured you here, how could I not have made meticulous preparations? Your great Tao of Time ability might be powerful and impossible to defend against, but I have my natal divine artifact, piercing metal shield. In the face of danger, it can automatically protect its owner. Your great Tao of Time ability is completely useless against me. Useless against you? Su Fang's voice came from the right. At some point, he had arrived beside piercing metal and had already finished forming a seal. Two mysterious auras, one black and one white, intertwined into an arrow, exuding a mysterious and powerful great Tao of Time. It was silently released and bombarded piercing metal's golden Xian Guang, exploding with a terrifying power that could annihilate spacetime. At this moment, a power of time that could cause any life or matter to rapidly decline from the peak of life enveloped piercing metal. Even a life-bound divine artifact could not block the power of time. Piercing metal's divine body rapidly withered away, and his life force rapidly dissipated into nothingness. Arrow of Time. This is the great Tao of Time ability, Arrow of Time? Amazing, truly amazing. Piercing metal and stone was also strong. He continued to circulate his divine essence. Metal energy gushed out of his body crazily, making him look like a piece of metal, which greatly slowed down the deterioration of his god body. How could Su Fang give him a chance? His primordial spirit power turned into waves of nothingness, bursting out from his pupils and violently attacking the divine aperture's defense. Mo Fenghua, you are only at the heavenly god realm. How can you possess such an astonishing primordial spirit's divine might? Only now did piercing metal begin to panic. The Dark Valley Origin Pearl was no longer very effective against divine emperors. Su Fang no longer had any use for this primordial spirit Tao artifact. However, Su Fang cultivated the undying soul scripture. His primordial spirit power was far stronger than piercing metals. The divine might of his primordial spirit posed a great threat to piercing metal. At the same time, Su Fang once again entered his life-bound state. Through the Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda, he merged the power of all his subordinates with his divine body. In his life-bound state, Su Fang exploded with the power of prehistoric inflammation. Then, like a ferocious beast, he charged forward, shattering piercing metal's protective divine might with one punch and landing on piercing metal's body. Boom! Piercing metal's divine body shattered like a piece of metal that had been struck by gravity. Spiderweb-like cracks appeared on his body. Burned by the domineering flames of prehistoric inflammation, his divine body also showed signs of melting. Piercing metal's mouth and divine body spat out blood. He fell to the ground, creating a deep pit in the ground in front of the palace. Su Fang descended slowly like a god of war, awe-inspiring and inviolable. He's an arrow at the end of its flight. Everyone attack. Kill him! Ji Xingyue shouted angrily. Xia Qijuan and a dozen or so other geniuses of the Star Billow God realm charged toward Su Fang. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Su Fang released one demon god after another. After the seal was removed, their bodies immediately burst into flames. They were in an astonishing state of combustion. These demon gods were none other than the ones Su Fang had suppressed with the power of prehistoric inflammation during the Godchild Tournament's finals. Their bodies were in a state of combustion from the inside out, and they were sealed inside Su Fang's body by Su Fang. These demon gods were one-time consumables. There were still a dozen or so left, and they were all released by Su Fang. Each demon god was comparable to a third sky of divine Emperor Realm expert. Moreover, they were under the control of the great desolate earth flame, burning their demon body, demon chi, and life force. They were not afraid of death. Even a fourth sky of heavenly god realm expert would have to avoid them. Ah! Xia Qijuan's heart was filled with hatred, so he was naturally the first to suffer. A burning demon god sent him flying with a single punch. The other geniuses of the Star Billow God realm had all passed the second stage of the trial peak, so they knew how powerful these demon gods were. They were scared out of their wits. They used their movement arts and fled as fast as they could. Ji Xingyue was the weakest, but his reaction wasn't slow. He activated a divine artifact that looked like a full moon and released a bright Xian Guang to cover his body. A demon god attacked him fiercely, but it couldn't break through his defense in a short time. "Mo Fenghua, I will kill you!" The heavily injured Xia Qijuan's handsome face was twisted like an injured ferocious beast, looking extremely ferocious. "There's also a fifth heaven divine emperor realm expert. That's your biggest trump card, isn't it? Why don't you let him come out?" Su Fang had sensed the existence of that expert a long time ago, so he didn't use his body to unleash his strongest attack. Kill him for me!" Xia Qijuan roared like a wild beast. A gray figure floated out of the palace and came to Xia Qijuan's side. Xia Qijuan seemed to have grabbed a life-saving straw and shouted proudly and crazily, "Mo Fenghua, you may be the #1 godchild of the Star Billow God Realm, but so what? I am a member of the powerful Soulless. If I want you to die today, you won't live past tomorrow." Soulless? The assassin organization Soulless? Su Fang came to a sudden realization. He didn't understand why Soulless would send someone to kill him. It turned out that Xia Qijuan was behind it. Su Fang had guessed that Soulless might be related to Night Demon, so how could he be careless in front of a Soulless expert? His expression turned serious. He started to circulate the power of his body and divine energy. All of his power gathered in the Tao Palace of Heaven and Earth. At the same time, Su Fang used his great perfection ability and wrapped it around the expert. This person doesn't have the sound of a heartbeat. He is indeed an expert controlled by Night Demon. I didn't expect Night Demon to be so persistent. I can see traces of Night Demon even in the myriad worlds. This is a bit troublesome. Something is wrong. Buzz. Buzz. A familiar aura caused the Destiny Dao text of the life shrinking technique to flash rapidly in Su Fang's divine aperture. This aura to Su Fang, this aura couldn't be more familiar. However, it was hidden very deeply and very weak. It seemed to be in a state of deep sleep. If Su Fang didn't sense it with his great perfection ability, he wouldn't have sensed it. This destiny aura came from the same source as Su Fang. It was a part of him. How could Su Fang not be familiar with it? Second primordial spirit. This expert from Soulless had the aura of a second primordial spirit hidden in the depths of his divine aperture. Su Fang was surprised and shocked. Then, he was overjoyed. Even an idiot could guess that the person behind Soulless wasn't Night Demon, but a second primordial spirit. Unexpectedly, Su Fang would never have dreamed that he would meet the second primordial spirit here after being separated from him in the Transformation Supreme Tao stage. Su Fang would never have thought that the second primordial spirit would use Night Demon's supreme primordial spirit to control experts and form a mysterious and powerful assassin organization. Soulless. No wonder Su Fang felt a little strange when he first heard the name. When he was in the small world of Zhao, he joined King Chu's secret assassin organization called Soulless. Ruan Yu, who once poisoned me with the withered red spider lily, is obviously also an expert controlled by the second primordial spirit with the black mark. The second primordial spirit is a primordial spirit consciousness residing in the black mark. It is usually in a state of deep sleep. Ruan Yu, who is controlled, acts according to his orders. His consciousness isn't devoured. That's why the second primordial spirit didn't discover me and almost killed me. Su Fang didn't know whether to laugh or cry when an assassin under the second primordial spirit almost killed him. If he really allowed Ruan Yu to succeed, that would really be the biggest joke in the world. Seeing Su Fang's expression, Xia Qijuan became even more proud. Mo Fenghua, you didn't expect this, did you? Although I, Xia Qijuan, was expelled from the Kuan Su divine sect, I have the edge of a peerless genius. No matter where I go, I will be valued. The assassin organization Solus that roams the star billows and Brahma great worlds also values me and trains me as a genius. If I join the powerful Solus, what is a mere Kuan Su divine sect? Su Fong touched the tip of his nose and asked helplessly, "You've seen the boss of Solus. How can I see such a peerless figure? When I kill you, Solus will become famous in the entire star field. I will have made a great contribution to Solus. At that time, the boss will naturally summon me in person and may even recruit me as a core member of Solus." The more Xia Qijuan spoke, the more excited he became. His eyes shone brightly. "Unfortunately, you won't be able to see my future supreme achievements." Xia Qijuan smiled coldly and embarrassedly. Then he shouted domineeringly at the gray-robed man, "Kill him. Don't let him die too easily. I want to pull out his tendons and skin him alive." Whoosh! The gray-robed man didn't say a word. His figure flashed and like a breeze, he appeared in front of Su Fong in an instant. Chapter 1971. Mo Fenghua, let's see how you die this time. Xia Qijuan looked pleased and cold as he watched the gray-robed man attack Su Fong. Pft! Su Fong's primordial spirit power exploded from his eyes and attacked the soulless expert's divine aperture ocean. "Second primordial spirit, wake up!" Then, Su Fong sent out a thought. The figure of the soulless stopped abruptly, and his monstrous aura abruptly retracted. A black Xian Guang suddenly flashed in his eyes and condensed into a lifelike figure. It was another Su Fong. Second primordial spirit. More accurately, it was the second primordial spirit's consciousness that resided in a black mark in the depths of this soulless expert's divine aperture. "Main body, how have you been?" The second primordial spirit's voice was cold and emotionless. After being separated for many years, not only had the second primordial spirit become stronger, it had also become colder. "Second primordial spirit, I've finally found you." Su Fong was very happy. It was a pleasant surprise that he had found his second primordial spirit. "Main body, I'm also very surprised. I've spent a lot of effort to find you," the second primordial spirit replied coldly. After a while, it turned out that after he was separated from his second primordial spirit and the three brothers of the Liao family, he was swept to the turbid cloud realm by the energy tide. The second primordial spirit took over the body of an expert and then took the three brothers of the Liao family to leave the turbid cloud realm through the realm-crossing stargate. In order to find Su Fong's main body, the second primordial spirit used its powerful primordial spirit power and Night Demon's supreme primordial spirit ability to control many experts to search for the main body's whereabouts. After many years, the second primordial spirit still couldn't find any news about the main body. However, it had a vague connection with the main body and knew that the main body hadn't died. Therefore, the second primordial spirit organized the experts under its control and formed the soulless assassin organization. It infiltrated the Brahma Heaven God realm and the surrounding great realms, even the Star Billow God realm. It used various forces to search for information about Su Fong. The three brothers of the Liao family were originally bandit. Initially, they planned to return to their old profession. However, the second primordial spirit's temperament was cold and callous. It was more suitable for them to form an assassin force. In the end, his true self was not found, and the assassin organization, Solus, had made a name for itself in the Brahma Heaven God realm, the Star Billow God realm, and other great realms. The second primordial spirit had the ability to travel through the void and any barriers or formations. Coupled with the primordial spirit divine ability to control the consciousness of a deity, it was a piece of cake for it to complete the assassination mission. After tens of thousands of years, Solus had become the #1 assassin force in the Brahma Heaven God realm, the Star Billow God realm, and the surrounding great realms. According to the second primordial spirit, the members of Solus had infiltrated the major forces. There were more than 1,000 core members and more than 30,000 killers. There were more than a dozen fifth sky of the godly Emperor realm cultivators under the second primordial spirit's control. Who would have thought that my second primordial spirit would be able to form such a powerful force after becoming the #1 divine child of Xinglan Star? What a surprise! Su Fang was shocked after learning about soulless power. True self, this Xia Qijuan's talent is not bad. I originally planned to let him participate in the Kimiko Hoshino competition and cultivate him carefully after becoming Kimiko Hoshino. Then, I would take over his body. With my talent, I would have definitely participated in the God-Child competition. I would have continued to participate in the God-Child competition as Xia Qijuan. This way, it would have been easier to find my true self. But who would have thought that Xia Qijuan would be eliminated by my true self in the preliminaries? That's why I issued the order to assassinate my true self. True self, what should we do with Xia Qijuan next? What should they do with Xia Qijuan? The second primordial spirit's plan was good, but Su Fang's true self and second primordial spirit had met, so he no longer needed this chess piece. Moreover, this Xia Qijuan was ambitious and ruthless. Why would Su Fang let him live? Su Fang looked at Xia Qijuan and said coldly, "Kill him." Mo Fenghua, are you scared out of your wits? Xia Qijuan was startled, then he laughed out loud. Ji Xingyue was surrounded by more than a dozen burning demon gods. The protective divine power released by the moon-shaped divine artifact was about to shatter. He anxiously roared at Xia Qijuan, "Why are you still talking so much nonsense? Kill him!" Then, Ji Xingyue secretly sent a voice transmission to Xia Qijuan, "As long as you kill this bastard, I will immediately fulfill my promise and bring you to the Ji people. With your talent, you will definitely be put in an important position in the Ji people. Compared to joining the soulless sect and becoming a shady assassin, your future will be 100 times brighter. Thank you for your help, young Master Ji." Xia Qijuan was overjoyed. Then, he said to the gray-robed man in a voice filled with killing intent, "This person is boss's target. What are you hesitating for? Kill him!" Whoosh! The gray-robed man suddenly turned around and created a violent whirlwind that swept towards Xia Qijuan. You dare to disobey boss's orders." Xia Qijuan's eyes instantly changed, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He didn't know that the primordial spirit consciousness of the boss he was talking about was in the gray-robed man's mind. He also didn't know that the soulless sex boss was Su Fang's second primordial spirit. The violent whirlwind, with a terrifying divine power that could distort and tear the void, enveloped Xia Qijuan. Xia Qijuan's defenses were shattered layer by layer. Seeing that he was about to die, he was shocked and angry. "How dare you betray the soulless sect? If you dare to kill me, boss will definitely not let you go. Even if you run to the ends of the earth, you won't be able to escape the soulless sect's pursuit. Idiot!" The second primordial spirit's cold voice came from the gray-robed man's mouth. The whirlwind suddenly shrank, and a terrifying divine power twisted Xia Qijuan's body into a pile of meat paste. Swoosh! Xia Qijuan's yang spirit rushed out of the whirlwind. The lifelike Xia Qijuan's face was filled with fear, and he was about to escape into the void. At this time, the gray-robed man's eyes shot out black Xian Guang, and two black Xian Guang intertwined, forming a powerful primordial spirit whirlpool. It forcibly sucked Xia Qijuan's primordial spirit out of the yang spirit, and finally, it was sucked into the gray-robed man's divine aperture, becoming nutrients for the second primordial spirit. After losing his primordial spirit, Xia Qijuan's yang spirit instantly collapsed, and Xia Qijuan's divine soul was completely destroyed. The sudden turn of events left Ji Xingyue dumbstruck. Boom! 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 Under the crazy attacks of the burning demon god, Ji Xingyue's divine artifact defense shattered. Seeing that he was about to follow in Xia Qijuan's footsteps, Ji Xingyue panicked and threatened Su Fang loudly, "Mo Fenghua, I am the young master of the Ji people. How dare you kill me? Who are you? How dare you pretend to be the young master of the Ji people? Su Fang acted as if he didn't know Ji Xingyue, but his eyes were full of sarcasm and cold, killing intent. The Ji people are a powerful divine race, yet you dare to pretend to be the young master of the Ji people? Death is your punishment, Su Fang coldly shouted, and more than 10 burning demon gods swarmed forward. Ji Xingyue only had time to let out a scream of despair before he was torn to pieces by the demon gods, and then turned into ashes in the burning demon flames. Ji clan, this is nothing more than a small amount of interest from you. Sooner or later, I will kill my way into the Ji people and seek justice for my master and Mo Shangsong. I will make you pay 10 times the price. Su Fang used to be a mortal cultivator, and after going through hardships from a small world to the myriad worlds, he had already learned how to be cruel and merciless. He had never shown mercy to his enemies. Then, Su Fang waved his hand and put the gray-robed man and the burning demon god into his inner world. He was about to go find Xianlingzi. Mo Fenghua, you are crazy. You actually killed Ji Xingyue. He is the young master of the Ji people. You actually dared to kill him. Moreover, you secretly colluded with the soulless assassin. Are you not afraid of being punished by the upper echelons of the Star Below God realm? Piercing Metal, who had been heavily injured by Su Fang, struggled out of the deep pit on the ground. He was shocked and furious when he saw that Su Fang had killed Ji Xingyue. I almost forgot about you, the main culprit. Su Fang activated the flying divine artifact, and in a flash, he arrived in front of Piercing Metal. This is the Lan Hao Training Hall. Do you dare to kill me? Piercing Metal finally realized his situation. He had witnessed Su Fang's ruthlessness, even daring to kill Ji Xingyue, so he naturally wouldn't let him go. He was so scared that his entire body trembled. Su Fang said coldly, "You captured my family and set up a trap to kill me. Now that you have fallen into my hands, why can't I kill you? Even if you kill me, you can forget about saving Xianlingzi." Piercing Metal seemed to have grabbed onto a life-saving straw. Even without you, I can still find my grandfather. Su Fang smiled indifferently, then activated the life-shrinking technique to sense Xianlingzi's aura. The next moment, buzz buzz buzz, suddenly, some Dao runes from destiny flashed mysteriously in his mind. Su Fang's divine light instant transformation. After entering the Lan Hao Training Hall, Su Fang had once sensed Xianlingzi's aura deep underground in the palace behind him. At this moment, deep underground, Xianlingzi's destiny aura had disappeared, but there was an extremely familiar destiny aura. Shinja Tianjun. The Dao runes from destiny condensed into a phantom in the depths of his mind. It was Shinja Tianjun. Su Fang, I knew that the Ji people's juniors couldn't kill you. Shinja Tianjuan's majestic voice came from deep underground. Su Fang, you really surprised me. In less than 100,000 years, you could actually grow to such an astonishing level. If you were given another 100 million years, even I wouldn't be able to do anything to you. As soon as he finished speaking, a figure rushed into the sky from the palace and floated in mid-air, looking down. A supreme ruler's divine aura enveloped Su Fang. At this moment, although Shinja Tianjun was no longer as terrifying as the great world's heavenly Dao, the divine aura he emitted was still extremely shocking. It was even more terrifying than the Star Below Realm Lord. Where did you come from? Why did you appear in the Lan Hao Training Hall? Who is Su Fang? Piercing Metal obviously didn't expect such an expert to appear. He was also shocked and stunned by how Shinja Tianjun addressed Su Fang. Su Fang's heart was in turmoil. Shinja, where is my grandfather now? Grandfather? Su Fang, I didn't expect you to really think of yourself as that good-for-nothing Mo Fenghua. How laughable. Chapter 1972. Shinja Tianjun said, Su Fang, Xianlingzi has been sent away by me with supreme power. His life is not in danger for the time being. You can rest assured that as long as you listen to my orders, I will not harm the life of an ant like Xianlingzi. What do you want? Su Fang asked in a deep voice. Su Fang secretly peeled off a yang spirit and entered the mysterious space of the origin sacred mirror. He released a thought and yang qi into the depths of the space. Shitty, you're in big trouble again, aren't you? Xu Wanzhen's voice swept over along with the cold air. Su Fang briefly explained Xinjia Tianjuan's matter. Sanskrit expert? It's really big trouble. Don't worry, you already have 59 yang meridians. If you and I work together to activate the origin sacred mirror, it won't be difficult to kill this Sanskrit expert. But you have to be careful. Once the secret of the origin sacred mirror is exposed, you will attract endless trouble. Su Fang said helplessly, I have no other choice. With the powerful and mysterious origin sacred mirror as his trump card, Su Fang's heart calmed down a lot. Xinjia Tianjun said, most of your current achievements come from that supreme godhead. As long as you peel off the godhead, not only will I let Xianlingzi go, I can even let you live. Xinjia, you really haven't given up on my godhead. Su Fang snorted coldly. I'm not an idiot. If I peel off the godhead and give it to you, will you really let my grandfather and me go? Xinjia Tianjun looked like he had victory in his hands. Su Fang, I know your character quite well. Although you are ruthless and extremely ambitious, you are a person who values relationship. How can you watch Xianlingzi die in my hands? Although I, Su Fang, value relationships, I'm definitely not stupid to let others control my fate. Xinjia, you can kill my grandfather, but one day, I will kill you and avenge my grandfather. Including Sanskrit. If I have enough power, I will wipe out the entire Sanskrit from existence. Su Fang let out a clanging sound. At this moment, he revealed the lofty and domineering aura of a great world's overlord. His previous aloof and elegant playboy aura was completely gone. Piercing Metal understood a few things from the conversation between the two. He was immediately shocked and his mind buzzed. Su Fang's domineering aura made Piercing Metal tremble. He couldn't believe that Su Fang had such a domineering side to him. The peerless overlord of the macro world does indeed have some backbone. Unfortunately, in my eyes, the so-called backbone is nothing more than the pathetic struggle of the weak. Since you don't want to leave, don't blame me for being ruthless. Xinjia Tianjuan's body suddenly emitted a sacred golden light. Then, he spat out the word Jia at Su Fang. A divine might brimming with the will of the heavenly Tao descended around Su Fang with a world-suppressing aura. Boom, boom, boom. Xinjia Tianjuan's voice seemed to contain a demonic nature that resonated with the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao around Su Fang seemed to suddenly stop moving. The laws shattered. Su Fang, Piercing Metal, and even the entire world seemed to be on the verge of shattering under this terrifying suppressive power. Xinjia Tianjun controlled the heavenly Tao of a great world. In a great world, he was an existence comparable to the heavenly Tao. Sanskrit's divine ability could draw upon the heavenly Tao's power. Thus, Xinjia Tianjun still possessed the supreme ability to control the heavenly Tao in the universe. Although it couldn't be compared to a great world, it was still incomparably shocking. In the face of such divine might, Su Fang and Piercing Metal were like tiny ants. Be careful. This Xinjia Tianjun is incomparably powerful. Although this is only a clone, it's definitely not something you can fight against. Hurry up and activate your ancient mirror. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to use it. Law warned Su Fang with a thunderous shout. If I activate the Hunyuan sacred mirror, I must succeed in one strike. Otherwise, if Xinjia Tianjun escapes, even if I escape this time, there will be even greater trouble. For the time being, I won't use the Hunyuan sacred mirror. Let's fight it out first. Su Fang's eyes were filled with determination. The world in his body was operating with a loud rumble. Piercing Metal was already in a seriously injured state. In the face of Xinjia Tianjuan's terrifying divine might, He was only able to resist for a moment before his entire body shattered layer by layer. Even his yang spirit couldn't escape. Shenjia, this is only a clone of yours that has descended. If you think you can suppress me so easily, aren't you being a little too arrogant? Su Fang poured all the energy and vitality in his body into the Tao Palace of Heaven and Earth. Together with the World Tree and the Yang Meridian, he transformed into a world that covered an area of 100 zhang. In an instant, an astonishing scene akin to the beginning of the world appeared. The 6 forces of nature, metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and lightning, howled as they operated. They collided and transformed, forming a phenomenon of the heavenly Tao. The world that Su Fang had created with his own body was not like those experts of the God realm, who had cultivated a certain great Tao to a certain level and formed a single world with their divine abode. Instead, it was a universe that encompassed all the laws of the universe and had its own unique way of operating. It even contained the fortune of the heavenly Tao. Although Su Fang's world was still in its infancy, the height of the world gave Su Fang a sliver of the ability to resist the heavenly Tao. Boom! 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 Shenjia Tianjuan's heavenly Tao power clashed with the world inside Su Fang's body. The terrifying impact caused the array world of Lan Hao Dojo to collapse and shatter the barrier. The island that Su Fang was on instantly fell apart. The entire Lan Hao Dojo's secret realm completely collapsed. Seawater surged out of the shattered barrier and wantonly flooded the secret realm inside the Star Billow God realm. Under the pressure of the heavenly Tao power, Su Fang's world shattered layer by layer and rapidly shrank as if the heavenly Tao was collapsing. The heavenly Tao power that Shenjia Tianjun had activated was also being worn down layer by layer. Before it could destroy Su Fang's world, it was completely worn down. Su Fang returned to his physical state and couldn't help but stagger. His face was pale and his aura was chaotic. Without hesitation, he poured a bottle of spirit liquid diluted by the creation saint pill into his mouth and frantically recovered the energy he had just consumed. You were actually able to resolve my attack? Su Fang, I didn't think that the small world inside your body would be cultivated to such a level. Extraordinary, as expected of extraordinary. Even if you were suppressed by me, you should be proud of it. Unfortunately, Su Fang, accept your fate. How can you resist my will? Shenjia Tianjun was surprised at first, but then he laughed disdainfully. Suddenly, the Star Billow Realm Lord's angry roar came from the void. Which expert dares to act so wantonly in my Star Billow God realm? The entire Lan Hao Dojo was shattered and seawater poured into the secret realm inside the Star Billow God realm. How could such a huge commotion not alarm the Star Billow Realm Lord? This was why Su Fang didn't hesitate to use his strongest attack to fight Shenjia Tianjun. As long as the Star Billow Realm Lord was alarmed, he would have a chance to escape even if he didn't use the Origin Sacred Mirror. Unfortunately, Zhu Yanjun and Qishao Shenjun had left the Star Billow God realm not long after the Kimiko Hoshino competition. Otherwise, with the two of them around, how could Shenjia Tianjun be so arrogant? The Star Billow Realm Lord's figure appeared from the void. Su Fang, no one can save you today. Heaven and Earth Millstone, crush all things. Shenjia Tianjun raised his eyebrows and suddenly made a shocking hand seal. A golden Xian Guang and a silver Xian Guang quickly condensed into a giant whirlpool of 300 meters. It looked like 2 millstones. A supreme divine ability released by the power of heaven and earth could crush all things. Heaven and Earth Millstone. Boom, boom, boom. As the millstone spun rapidly, it released a terrifying divine might that seemed to crush heaven and earth into powder. The surrounding mountains, forests, earth, and everything else shattered under this crushing divine might. Shenjia Tianjun actually drew upon the power of heaven and earth and used it as a millstone to crush Su Fang. Shenjia Tianjun, it's actually you. Stop. The Star Billow Realm Lord recognized Shinja Tianjun and shouted coldly. However, his eyes were filled with fear and he hesitated when he attacked. Of course, the Star Billow Realm Lord couldn't be blamed for being timid. He was the Realm Lord of a great realm and a supreme existence in the Star Billow God realm, but he was nothing in front of a colossus like Sanskrit. Moreover, Shinja Tianjun represented Sanskrit and controlled the heavenly power of a great realm. His status in Sanskrit was quite high, so how could the Star Billow Realm Lord not be afraid? Although Su Fang was a peerless genius, offending a Sanskrit expert for him and bringing destruction to the Star Billow God realm was clearly not worth it to the Star Billow Realm Lord. Looks like I can't count on the Star Billow Realm Lord. Su Fang saw the Star Billow Realm Lord's fear and hesitation and knew that his plan was ruined. He could only rely on himself. Shinja Tianjun released a terrifying divine might that enveloped Su Fang and was about to crush Su Fang into powder. Just as Su Fang was about to take out the Origin Sacred Mirror, a sacred and dignified golden light suddenly rushed out of the void above Su Fang's head. It flowed down like a waterfall and quickly condensed into a 30-meter true golden roll. The true golden roll released a dazzling golden halo that carried a mysterious and ancient aura. It enveloped Su Fang's body and formed a protective divine might. Shinja Tianjuan's terrifying attack, which was like the might of the heavens, landed on the golden halo released by the true golden roll. It only caused the halo to tremble a few times before dissipating into nothingness. The aura of the primal chaos power, this is the Chaos Golden Roll. Luo and Shu Wanjin, who was inside the Origin Sacred Mirror, exclaimed at the same time. The Chaos Golden Roll. Shinja Tianjuan's divine light changed instantly as he looked at the true golden roll that had appeared out of thin air in disbelief. The Chaos Golden Roll. Su Fang was also very shocked. He had always thought that the so-called Chaos Golden Roll was just a list of peerless geniuses collected by the peerless experts of the universe. He never thought that the Chaos Golden Roll would be such an existence that appeared at this critical moment and resolved his crisis. Chapter 1973. Junior Sanskrit, this boy is on the Hunyuan Golden List. No expert is allowed to attack him. Otherwise, you will be punished by all the supreme experts in the heavens. Why aren't you leaving? Xing Wuji's majestic voice came from the Hunyuan Golden List. Hunyuan Golden List? I know about the Hunyuan Golden List, but I didn't expect that Su Fang was also qualified to be on the Hunyuan Golden List. Since Su Fang is on the Hunyuan Golden List, I won't attack him anymore. Shinja Tianjun cupped his fists and bowed to Xing Wuji. No matter how arrogant he was, he did not dare to go against Xing Wuji. Moreover, Xing Wuji's appearance at this time represented the supreme experts in the heavens. Even the entire Sanskrit could not be strong enough to fight against all the experts in the heavens. Shinja, let go of my grandfather, Xianlingzi. Su Fang thundered. Xianlingzi will be a guest in Sanskrit. If you have the courage and strength, go directly to Sanskrit and bring him back, Shinja Tianjun said coldly. Su Fang's eyes spewed fire. Shinja, you are a peerless expert who controls the power of the heavenly way in the great world. How can your methods be so despicable? Shinja Tianjun sneered disdainfully. Why should the strong care about such trifles when they act? Su Fang looked at the Hunyuan Golden List, cupped his fists and bowed. Senior, please uphold justice for me. Who knew that Xing Wuji would reply indifferently. Last time, when I took you into the Hunyuan Golden List, I merged my aura into the Hunyuan Golden List. In a moment of life and death, I can protect you. However, being on the Hunyuan Golden List does not mean that you can rest easy from now on. The Hunyuan Golden List will only appear to protect you when you are attacked by experts who are far stronger than you. In other situations, you have to rely on yourself to resolve everything. Otherwise, you will lose the role of training a genius. Your grandfather has been taken away. This matter is not within the protection of the Hunyuan Golden List, so I can't help you. You have to solve it yourself. Xing Wuji's words were like a bucket of ice water poured on Su Fang's head, causing him to feel cold all over. Infinite Life's projection looked at Lord of Heaven Xinjia. A surge of murderous intent burst out and shrouded Lord of Heaven Xinjia. Junior from the Brahma clan, your methods have made this old man dislike you. Although there was an agreement when many supreme experts joined hands to create the Primal Chaos Golden List, this old man still has to warn you. If you dare to touch a single strand of that kid's head, this old man and Mo Tiangong's true body will descend and kill you. Xinjia Tianjun said Xing Wuji's Wuji. Xing Wuji's divine aura suddenly sank, and Xinjia Tianjun's life aura rapidly faded. He instantly turned from a dignified middle-aged man to an old man in his 60s or 70s. A peerless genius who can be listed on the Hunyuan Golden List will be a peerless expert in the future. You actually offended such a future expert and used such a despicable method. I didn't expect Sanskrit to have produced such a stupid person. Xing Wuji shouted domineeringly, and then his shadow disappeared into the Hunyuan Golden List. After a burst of golden light, the Hunyuan Golden List also turned into golden light and dissipated into nothingness. Su Fang. Xinjia Tianjun had been punished by Xing Wuji, and his clone had lost 1 billion years of life. The loss could be said to be heavy, so how could he not fly into a rage out of humiliation? You are now listed on the Hunyuan Golden List, so I can't touch you for the time being. However, don't think that the Hunyuan Golden List can protect you forever. When you are defeated in the star domain and the divine children of the various worlds, you will be eliminated from the Hunyuan Golden List. When your genius halo is gone, let's see who will protect you. When that time comes, I will take everything I need from you. I will imprison Xianlingzi in Sanskrit. If you have the ability, you can come to Sanskrit at any time. As an expert of Sanskrit, Xinjia Tianjun more or less knew the inside story of the Hunyuan Golden List. After repeated eliminations, there would only be one genius left on the Hunyuan Golden List, and the others were just foils. In his opinion, although Su Fang's talent was extraordinary, it was completely impossible for him to win among the countless geniuses in the various worlds and stay until the end of the Hunyuan Golden List. As long as Su Fang was eliminated from the Hunyuan Golden List, he would lose the protection of a peerless expert. At that time, wouldn't he be at his mercy? Xinjia Tianjun controlled the power of the Great World's Heavenly Way and was restricted by the will of the Heavenly Way. He did not dare to lay his hands on Su Fang's father and relatives, but in the various worlds, he was not subject to these restrictions. As long as he captured Xianlingzi, he was not afraid that Su Fang would not take the bait. His plan could not be said to be not good. Xinjia, I, Su Fang, will remember what you have done. You must remember, if you suppress me, I will kill you. If Sanskrit suppresses me, I will exterminate the Sanskrit. If the heavens want to suppress me, I will go against the heavens. Su Fang's voice was loud, and a proud and unyielding aura arose spontaneously, shocking the Starwave Realm Lord and the many higher-ups of the Starwave God Realm who had rushed over. Shameless boasting! Xinjia Tianjun snorted at Su Fang's words. He looked at the Starwave Realm Lord and said coldly, Xinglan, what advice does Xinjia Tianjun have for me? The Starwave Realm Lord replied in a low voice, his expression ugly. After Heavenly Monarch Xinjia destroyed one of his secret realms, the Starwave Realm Lord naturally harbored resentment towards Heavenly Monarch Xinjia. If it wasn't for his fear of Heavenly Monarch Xinjia's identity, he would have already attacked him. Xinjia Tianjun said majestically, the number 1 godchild of the Starwave God Realm is not from the Starwave God Realm, but an ascender from the lower realms. Isn't this laughable? The Starwave God Realm should choose a new number 1 godchild. What? Mo Fenghua is actually an ascender? The Starwave Realm Lord deduced some clues from the conversation between Su Fang and Xinjia Tianjun. Now that Xinjia Tianjun had confirmed it himself, he was still shocked and surprised. The other higher-ups of the Starwave God Realm were in an uproar. This child's name is Su Fang, and he was originally an ascender from a higher realm. He stole one of my supreme treasures in the past, and I have been chasing him all this time. I never thought that he would actually possess the divine body of a god from the Starwave God Realm, and even become the #1 godchild of the Starwave God Realm. If the Starwave God Realm continues to take him in, you will become my enemy, and Sanskrit's enemy. Xinglan, think carefully, don't bring disaster to yourself. Xinjia Tianjun threatened without hiding anything. Then, he shot a cold glance at Su Fang, and his figure disappeared into the void. Mo Fenghua! Su Fang! The Starwave Realm Lord flew toward Su Fang, and looked at Su Fang with a complicated gaze. All the upper echelons of the Star Billow Divine World, as well as the geniuses of the Star Billow Divine World who had rushed over, including Bai Holan, were surprised and shocked when they found out that Su Fang was not Mo Fenghua from the Kuan Su God World, but the Su Fang who had ascended from the outside world. No wonder Mo Fenghua was able to transform from a good-for-nothing trash into a peerless genius, and no one in the entire Starwave God Realm could compare to him. So he was possessed by an ascender. An ascender's strength is far stronger than a god born in the God Realm, and their talent is also incomparably outstanding. That's why they were able to ascend from the lower realm to the God Realm. This Su Fang ascender from the lower realm being able to become the #1 godchild of the Starwave God Realm isn't anything strange. An ascender from the lower realm, born lowly and lowly, what qualifications does he have to become the #1 godchild of the Starwave God Realm? This person pretended to be a cultivator from Kuan Su's God Realm and participated in the Kimiko Hoshino Summit competition. Suppress him. An ascender from the lower realm actually offended a big shot from Sanskrit. He really doesn't know what's good for him, and is extremely arrogant. If we don't suppress him, the Starwave God Realm will definitely be implicated. While everyone was discussing spiritedly, Su Fang's facial muscles and bones squirmed, and returned to his original appearance. His aura also changed greatly. After returning to his original appearance, Su Fang immediately felt relaxed. From today onwards, Mo Fenghua was completely dead, and Su Fang was the ascender who replaced him. That's right, I am indeed an ascender from a higher realm. My name is Su Fang. Su Fang's bright eyes swept across the gods of the Starwave God Realm. The demeanor of a peerless overlord of a higher realm was fully displayed at this moment. In order to avoid Xinjia Tianjun's pursuit, I escaped from the Transformation Supreme Realm to the Turbid Cloud Realm. Coincidentally, Mo Fenghua was killed, so I coincidentally possessed Mo Fenghua and entered Kuan Su's divine sect with his appearance and identity. That's right, I am indeed born lowly and lowly. I don't have any background or backing. I can only rely on my own talent and ability to climb from the bottom to the peak, and finally become the #1 godchild of the Starwave God Realm. So what if I am born lowly? Let me ask you, if you were me, who could do what I did? Su Fang's voice was filled with pride and confidence, and it caused the self-proclaimed geniuses of Kimiko Hoshino to reveal looks of shame. I'm not as good as him. Bai Holan sighed in his heart. He was completely convinced by Su Fang. How many of these so-called geniuses didn't rely on their families and forces to nurture them with countless resources? If it was anyone else, including himself, Su Fang wouldn't have achieved what he had today. Since the Starwave God Realm can't accept me, I'll leave. Su Fang cupped his fists at the Starwave Realm Lord and said sincerely, "Thank you for your high regard, Realm Lord. Also, if you have the chance, please pass on a message to Master Kuan Su that I, Su Fang, will repay the kindness of Kuan Su's divine sect tenfold one day." The Starwave Realm Lord wanted to ask him to stay, but when he thought of Shinja Tianjun and Sanskrit, he had no choice but to give up on the idea. Just as Su Fang was about to leave, the Starwave Realm Lord suddenly said, "Wait." Su Fang asked in surprise, "Does the Realm Lord have something to say? Although the Starwave God Realm can't accept you, your identity as Kimiko Hoshino was decided by Lord Zhu Yanjun and Lord Crimson Firmament. Therefore, you can still use the identity of Kimiko Hoshino to participate in the Star Region's God-Child competition several thousand years from now." The Starwave Realm Lord took out a storage ring and flew it to Su Fang. Then, the Star Billow Realm Lord transmitted his primordial spirit. "I know that you are definitely not a fish in a pond. However, the Brahmin race is too powerful for you to contend against. You only have the capital and opportunity to contend against the divine children. Accept this small token of my appreciation. I hope that you can shine in the Star Region's God-Child competition, and even in the competition between the peerless geniuses of all the realms. Thank you." Su Fang bowed to the Starwave Realm Lord. Then, he activated the sky-splitting rainbow shuttle. Carried by a golden rainbow, he instantly passed through the layers of barriers and arrived in the void outside. From now on, Su Fang is free to roam the world. Chapter 1974. Su Fang pondered for a moment in the void outside the Star Billow Divine Realm and made a decision. "I'll meet up with my second primordial spirit first, then find a place to cultivate and prepare for the Star Field Godchild competition." The Yellow Spring Emperor was killed by Shinja Tianjun with his own hands. In the Transformation Supreme Tao Path, Su Fang's primal Chaos Divine Lattice was almost stolen by Shinja Tianjun, forcing Su Fang to come to the God Realm and change his appearance. This time, Xian Lingzi was captured by Shinja, and Su Fang was almost killed by Shinja Tianjun. Although Su Fang resolved this crisis with the help of the Chaos Golden Roll, all the identity and status he worked so hard to obtain after ascending to the myriad realms had all turned to nothing. The hatred between Su Fang and Shinja Tianjun was as deep as the sea. However, Su Fang's current strength was still not enough to fight against Shinja Tianjun. If not for the protection of the Chaos Golden Roll, it would be difficult for him to escape the fate of being suppressed by Shinja Tianjun. Whether it's the Chaos Golden Roll or a peerless expert, they are all external forces. If you don't want to be bullied by the strong, you can only rely on yourself. From a small world to a large world, and then to the myriad realms, Su Fang had long understood this principle. This time, he had a deeper understanding. Mo Fenghua. Just as Su Fang was about to leave for the Star Crossing Gate, two figures flew towards him. Looking closely, it was Ling Xiangmei and Count Chong. After the God-Child competition, Master Kuan Su left the Star Billow Divine Realm with Kuan Su's divine sect. Xianlingzi, Ling Xiangmei, Count Chong and the others stayed behind and lived on the mountain peak in the inner secret realm. Aunt Mei, Count Chong. Su Fang revealed a guilty expression, but immediately became calm. Ling Xiangmei said in a low voice, "Are you really, as they said, an ascender from a large world who took over Mo Fenghua's body?" Su Fang nodded and replied, "Yes. However, although I possessed Mo Fenghua, he did not die because of me. I used his identity to enter Kuan Su's God world, but I had no choice. Please forgive me, Aunt Mei and Uncle Chong." Ling Xiangmei revealed a bitter smile. "And here I thought that Mo Fenghua, that little thing, had really transformed into an exceptional genius. I didn't expect. Brat, there's no need for you to feel guilty about anything. You're able to hold your head high for that bastard Mo Fenghua and kill his enemy with your own hands. He will also be grateful to you in the underworld. I also have to thank you for allowing me to follow you and hold my head high in the Star Billow God realm." Young Master, Count Chong looked at Su Fang with a complicated expression. "If you're willing to treat me as Mo Fenghua, I'm willing to continue treating you as my elders. As for grandfather, Senior Xianling has been captured by Sanskrit's expert. His life will not be in danger for the time being. As long as I have enough strength, I will definitely kill my way into Sanskrit and rescue him. Su Fang's tone revealed a sense of determination. After saying that, Su Fang took out 2 storage rings and gave them to Ling Xiangmei and Count Chong. This is Ling Xiangmei's primordial spirit consciousness entered the storage ring and scanned it. Her divine light instantly changed. In the storage ring given to Ling Xiangmei, there were millions of mid-grade pills and a large amount of resources. There was also a pill that Ling Xiangmei couldn't determine its quality at all. The medicinal fragrance and boundless medicinal power that it emitted caused Ling Xiangmei's heart to tremble in fear. Su Fang transmitted his primordial spirit voice to Ling Xiangmei. That's a creation saint pill. Aunt May takes a small amount every time and dilutes it with spirit water. With Aunt May's talent, it won't be difficult for her to cultivate to the peak of the divine emperor realm with the help of this pill. A creation saint pill. Ling Xiangmei fell into a state of intense shock. She looked at Su Fang with eyes full of gratitude. In the storage ring that Su Fang gave to Count Chong, there were also 10 blood crystals in addition to a considerable amount of pills. These blood crystals were formed by the experts and big goblin that Su Fang killed with the power of the world of yin and yang. Immortals could directly absorb the life force contained in these blood crystals. For an old immortal like Count Chong, it had the effect of prolonging his lifespan. These 10 blood crystals were enough to extend Count Chong's lifespan by tens of millions of years. Aunt May, Count Chong, farewell. Take care. Su Fang bowed to Ling Xiangmei and Count Chong before flying toward the direction of the interspatial stargate. Kid, you still owe me something. Why don't you return it to me? Ling Xiangmei suddenly said. Su Fang was shocked and stunned. Ling Xiangmei transmitted her voice to Jiang Yi. Since you are not Mo Fenghua, why are you taking my underwear? Why don't you return it to me? Su Fang was dumbfounded. He had already thrown away those messy things. Where was he going to find them now? Ling Xiangmei snorted inexplicably. Since you can't bear to part with them, then keep them for yourself. Humph, I see that you are the same as that bastard Mo Fenghua. Su Fang's forehead was covered in sweat as he left in a sorry state. This caused Ling Xiangmei to laugh like a silver bell. The object where the interspatial stargate was located was in sight. Buzz, a rune talisman in his body, moved. It turned out to be Jiang Baozhen. Brother Mo, I should call you Brother Su now. Brother Su really hid his strength well. I didn't expect you to be an ascender. That follower of mine, Hongxing, was killed by Brother Su, right? Su Fang raised his eyebrows. Could it be that young Master Jiang wants to avenge him? Or could it be that young Master Jiang wants to hit me when I am down and seize the Golden Rainbow King's keepsake after seeing me being bullied by the Sanskrit? Jiang Baozhen smiled. Brother Su, you must be joking. Brother Su is a peerless overlord of a large world with heaven-defying talent. Sooner or later, you will be a peak powerhouse in the myriad worlds. Why would I offend a future supreme figure like Brother Su for a servant or the Golden Rainbow King's keepsake? Young Master, you didn't specifically contact me to flatter me, right? Su Fang replied coldly, but he was secretly shocked. How long had it been since his identity was exposed? Jiang Baozhen actually found out some things about Su Fang in the large world. It could be seen that the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce's strength was truly shocking. The reason I contacted Brother Su is because I have an urgent matter to report to you. Experts of the Brahma clan from the Cloudy Divine Realm have appeared at the star-crossing gates between the Star Billow Divine Realm and other divine realms. It's obvious that they're here for Brother Su. Therefore, I want to remind Brother Su not to fall into their hands. Sanskrit actually dares to ignore the Chaos Golden ranking and plan to attack me. Su Fang was shocked. He hurriedly activated his Great Perfection Stage ability and the Heavenly Mystery Life shrinking technique to sense the object where the interspatial stargate was located. Buzz buzz buzz. As expected, There were more than a dozen auras that clearly carried the origin of the cloudy divine realm. They were undoubtedly Sanskrit powerhouses from the cloudy divine realm. One of the auras was very familiar to Su Fang. It was Elder Een, who had been to Kuan Su's divine sect before. There was also another aura that was very ethereal. His cultivation was at the peak of the divine emperor realm. Such strength was definitely a true powerhouse in the great worlds of the heavens. Brother Su, the Chaos Golden ranking can intimidate Sanskrit and prevent them from openly killing you. However, with Sanskrit's power, they have too many ways to deal with you. For example, they can disguise themselves as bandits, assassins, or even put up a bounty through the Chamber of Commerce. With so many methods, how can the Chaos Golden ranking resolve all of them for you? It's almost impossible for Brother Su to leave the Star Billow Divine Realm at this time. Why don't you join the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce? I will try to send Brother Su out of the Star Billow Divine Realm. If Brother Su is willing to join the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce, it will naturally be something that we can only wish for. Only then did Jiang Baozhen reveal his true intentions. I appreciate young Master Jiang's good intentions, but I have my own ways to escape. Thank you for your reminder. That's a pity. Since Brother Su insists, I can only wish Brother Su a safe journey. If Brother Su has any difficulties in the future, you can find the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce at any time. As long as you take out the purple mark Divine Jade, the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce will definitely help you. After ending his conversation with Jiang Baozhen, Su Fang put away the rune talisman and smiled indifferently. From ancestor Hongxing, Su Fang had seen the Chamber of Commerce's selfishness. How could he join the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce? Jiang Baozhen only reminded him now because Su Fang still had value and could be considered a kind of investment. If he took his words seriously, he would have to count the money for him in the future even if he was sold. Just as he put away the rune talisman, the three divine kings also transmitted their primordial spirit. Senior, let's call each other brothers in the future. I didn't expect little brother Su Fang to be an ascender from a great world. I mistakenly thought that you were the reincarnation of a peerless expert. I've made a fool of myself. Su Fang smiled embarrassedly. Let's cut to the chase. I'm refining in seclusion. Master Mo Tiangong sent me a message. Only then did I know that little brother Su Fang is in such a big trouble. Do you need my help? I appreciate third brother's kindness. Thank you for taking care of me in the past. One day I'll definitely repay you tenfold. You've helped me a little. It's like giving me a new life. If you talk about repaying me, you're treating me as an outsider. Ancestral Master Mo asked me to tell you to be careful of Sanskrit's revenge. Also the G people. If your true identity is known by the G people, they will definitely take revenge on you. I understand. In addition, Ancestral Master Mo asked you to prepare for the Star Domain Divine Sun battle with all your strength. Don't be disturbed by other things. He will be able to make the natal divine weapon for you before the Interstellar Area Gods Sun competition begins. With this natal divine weapon, your chances of winning the Interstellar Area Gods Sun competition will be much higher. Please tell Senior Mo that Su Fang will definitely remember this favor he's done for me. I'll take my leave now. Su Fang cut off his communication with the three divine kings and slowly flew into the depths of the void. He entered a cold and lonely galaxy. Then, Su Fang released Qin Yu and had him transform into his true form. He was going to use his innate ability to travel through the void to leave the Star Billow God realm. Sanskrit's experts are really here. Su Fang's great perfection ability sensed that there were more than a dozen experts behind him riding on various flying treasures. They were chasing after him as fast as lightning. Su Fang's great perfection ability could see that the Sanskrit's experts were all dressed in black. They had masks covering their faces. It was obvious that they didn't want to reveal their identities. Do you think it's that easy to kill me, Su Fang? Su Fang laughed disdainfully. With a leap, he was swallowed into Qin Yu's stomach. Brother Qin Yu, thank you for your hard work. I finally have the chance to use my innate ability. I couldn't ask for more. What's so hard about it? Qin Yu let out a wild laugh. With a gentle flap of his huge wings, ripples appeared in the calm void as Qin Yu dove into the void. Chapter 1975. In the primal chaos void. Turbid and chaotic auras converged to form a torrent that whistled through the desolate void. Everything that floated in the void, the bigger ones were like Death Stars that were tens or millions of miles in size, while the smaller ones were like fragments of matter. They were swept up by the chaotic torrent, bobbing up and down a few times before being smashed into smithereens. Some strange creatures that were hard to find in the divine world would appear in the primal chaos void and the primal chaos current. Their tyrannical auras were so strong that even great realm lords like the Star Billow Realm Lord and Scarlet Firmament God Sovereign had to retreat. This was the primal chaos void, a place that ordinary gods could hardly set foot in. A green rock that was 1,500 feet long roamed through the void. It looked slow, but it was unbelievably fast. In an instant, it covered a distance of 1,000,000 miles. Encountering the terrifying chaotic airflow, the green rock did not dodge. It plunged into the torrent, and after a long time, it came out from the other end of the torrent. In the primal chaos void, there was no natural spiritual energy, and the power of the world could not be sensed. Apart from absolute existences that could control the power of chaos and fly freely in the primal chaos void, unless other gods had supreme magic treasures, entering the depths of the primal chaos void was no different from courting death. And this green rock actually used such a domineering method to roam the primal chaos void. It was obvious that it relied on its innate ability. To gods, the primal chaos void was a forbidden area, but to this green rock, it was a vast world that it could roam freely. This rock demon god was Qin Yu. At this time, more than 2,000 years had passed since Su Fang left the Star Billow realm. In these 2,000 years, Qin Yu had been roaming the primal chaos void. Along the way, he encountered countless dangers, but they were all resolved by Su Fang and his subordinates. There were a few times when Su Fang had to rely on the sky-piercing rainbow shuttle to luckily escape with his life. Roaming the primal chaos void was also a training for Qin Yu. After this training, and at the same time devouring large amounts of elixirs and resources provided by Su Fang, Qin Yu had already reached the level of a peak ninth heaven god. Along the way, Su Fang had collected countless ores and gems, all of which were rare treasures in the god realm. If he brought them to the Tongbao Chamber of Commerce, he would definitely be able to sell them for a high price. At the same time, they also killed quite a few chaos beasts, all of which were refined into blood crystals by Su Fang, becoming important resources for cultivation. In the primal chaos void, it was impossible to absorb the natural spiritual qi of heaven and earth. There was not even the power of the world. Fortunately, Su Fang did not lack any elixirs. These few years, he had been constantly devouring medicinal pills to cultivate. His cultivation had gradually risen to the peak of the ninth firmament celestial deity realm. The 60th yang meridian was also in the midst of assailing. He was not far from successfully being born. He continued to fly through the chaotic void. Another 100 years had passed, and the aura in the void had clearly changed. It was no longer the desolate aura of chaos. Instead, it contained a small amount of world power and natural spiritual energy. We're almost at the dust essence realm. Brother Qin Yu, let me out. Su Fang's voice came from Qin Yu's body. Qin Yu released Su Fang. After sensing the aura of the world around him, Su Fang activated the power of the world. Now that he could barely fly by controlling the power of the world, he kept Qin Yu in his body to rest. Su Fang controlled the power of the world and flew in the direction of the source of the power of the world. Su Fang's destination this time was the Dust Essence realm. The three brothers of the Liao family were bandits from the Dust Essence realm. The assassin organization Solus, established by the second primordial spirit, was also in the dust essence realm. The dust essence realm was also considered a plane of the god realm. It was not big, but its location was very special. It was located at the intersection of this star field and the star field of the Brahma heaven god realm. Its location was very important, and it became a place that various forces fought to seize. Because of this, the dust essence realm was the most chaotic place in the star field. Bandits ran rampant, and the only rule here was the law of the jungle. Su Fang flew in the desolate void for more than 50 years, and the dust essence realm appeared in his field of vision. From afar, the dust essence realm looked like specks of dust floating in the void, forming a whirlpool-shaped galaxy. In fact, those specks of dust were floating substances that were occupied by various forces. Some of these substances became the immortal caves for gods to cultivate, some were occupied by major forces, and became the stronghold that connected the two star fields. Most of them were the lairs of bandits. I've finally arrived. Su Fang's tired face revealed a smile. In order to avoid being hunted down by Sanskrit, Su Fang did not use the Transrealm Stargate to teleport between the god realms for more than 2,000 years. Instead, he chose to travel across the chaotic void. One could imagine the hardships he had to go through. Another 3 years passed. The power of the world and the natural aura of heaven and earth became more abundant. Su Fang took out the silver-streaked sword and drove it towards the dust essence realm. He gradually approached the periphery of the dust essence realm. Whoosh! A spaceship-shaped magic treasure flew out from a substance in the dust essence realm. Seeing Su Fang from afar, the spaceship-shaped magic treasure immediately changed its direction and blocked Su Fang's path. Then, more than 10 gods flew out from the spaceship-shaped magic treasure and pounced on Su Fang. Although these gods' costumes were different, each of them carried a murderous aura. Their eyes flickered with ominous glints. At first glance, one could tell that they were not good people. Their cultivation was not bad. The leading god's cultivation had reached the first heaven of the God-Emperor realm. The others were uneven. Most of them were in the true God realm. These are the bandits of the dust essence realm? Su Fang did not expect to encounter bandits the moment he came to the dust essence realm. He could not help but laugh. Hand over all your belongings and we'll spare your life. More than 10 bandits surrounded Su Fang. The leading bandit shouted in a domineering manner. I didn't expect the bandits of the dust essence realm to be so righteous. They only rob and don't kill. Su Fang secretly communicated with a strand of his second primordial spirit consciousness. Righteous. The bandits of the dust essence realm kill without batting an eyelid. How can they be righteous? They don't kill because in their eyes you're just a piece of property. After these bandits captured deities, they would either sell them as slaves or sell them to those evil alchemists. They would use their deities' bodies to refine pills. How could they be so kind as to keep their lives? The second primordial spirit's words made Su Fang speechless and smile bitterly. He had underestimated the ruthlessness of the bandits of the myriad realms. What was the difference between refining pills with the divine body of a god and the devil race and evil cultivators? I'm afraid this kid isn't simple. A few of you go up and test his depth. Seeing that Su Fang was alone and had the cultivation of the 9th heaven of the heaven god realm at such a young age, the bandit leader was very cautious. He first sent a few subordinates to test him. No need to go through so much trouble. Su Fang smiled indifferently. Shua, Shua. Bai Ling, Sunflower Mermaid, Fire Lizard, and more than 10 experts were all released by Su Fang. So many experts. This brat has a great background. He's a tough bone to chew. The bandit leader's expression changed slightly. However, he was confident in his strength and had no intention of running away. Brother, let me show you the power of my new chaos ring. Bai Ling couldn't wait to show off his strength to Su Fang. He opened his mouth and spat out a golden xian guang, which transformed into a chaos ring that was 1,000 feet in size. Tut tut tut! A chaotic aura of the great Tao erupted from the chaos ring. It swept out like a tidal wave, causing a huge tremor in the void. More than a dozen bandits had just activated their divine weapons when they were shattered by the terrifying power of chaos. Not only their divine weapons, but even the divine bodies of the bandits were shattered into particles. Only the bandit leader was able to withstand the power of the chaos ring. However, he was also shaken to the point where his body almost collapsed. Blood splattered everywhere. The new chaos ring that Heaven Monarch of Chaos gave Bai Ling was actually this powerful. The bandit leader was so frightened that he turned around and flew towards the flying vessel artifact. However, it was already too late. The sunflower mermaid let out a sharp cry. The essence soul attack caused a violent impact on his divine aperture, causing him to stagger. The fire lizard spat out a tongue of fire. With a whoosh, it penetrated the bandit leader's divine body. Then, it dragged him back and swallowed him. From Bai Ling's attack to the bandit leader being suppressed, the entire process took less than 5 breaths of time. Su Fang's dozen experts didn't even have a chance to make a move. When the people on the flying vessel artifact saw their companions killed so quickly, they knew that they had encountered a tough nut to crack. They hurriedly piloted the flying vessel and fled. Su Fang couldn't be bothered to chase after them. He withdrew his subordinates and flew towards the Dust Essence Realm. In an area of the Dust Essence Realm, there was an array space deep underground. The darkness was filled with a cold aura. In the middle of the array space, there was an altar in the shape of a heart. Inside, there were more than 1,000 deities sitting cross-legged. These deities were like lifeless ice sculptures. All of them were expressionless. What was especially strange was that there was a faint blood-colored smoke that constantly gushed out from their chests and converged towards the center of the altar. The blood-colored smoke that was formed from the life essence in the heart converged at a black mark. There seemed to be a monster hiding inside as it devoured all the blood-colored smoke. Suddenly the black mark trembled as the blood-colored smoke was severed. A phantom image floated out from the black mark. Unlike the other essence souls, this essence soul phantom image was extremely solid, as though it was a real existence. My main body is finally here. The eyes of the essence soul phantom flickered with a black Xian Guang. It seemed to be excited. Follow me to welcome your master. The phantom image drilled back into the black mark and spoke with a lofty and cold voice. Yes, boss. Many deities kowtowed to the phantom image. The phantom image shuttled through the void and left. More than 1,000 deities also flew up and left this dark and cold world. Under the lead of a gray-robed man, Su Fang shuttled through the world barrier and arrived above the material world. Greetings, master. When more than 1,000 black-robed men saw Su Fang appear, they kowtowed to greet him. Whoosh! Chapter 1976. I finally have a force that belongs to me in the myriad realms. Looking at the 1,000 or so black-clothed men, Su Fang couldn't help but sigh with emotion. These 1,000 or so black-clothed men were all puppet masters controlled by the second primordial spirit's imprint. Every black-clothed man's cultivation was above the heavenly god realm, and a few of them were about the same level as the gray-clothed man, reaching the divine emperor realm. Moreover, these puppet masters were all loyal and devoted, and there was absolutely no chance of them betraying their master. This was only a portion of soulless forces, and there were many soulless experts who had infiltrated the major forces. In terms of numbers, soulless forces were still not very large, but in terms of strength, destruction, and assassination ability, they were quite astonishing. Who would have thought that after being separated from the second primordial spirit, he would establish such a terrifying assassination organization? On the surface, the material occupied by Soulless was occupied by a group of valiant bandits, but in reality it was Soulless' lair. Su Fang's second primordial spirit ordered his subordinates to gather information, mainly about the movements of Sanskrit. Then Su Fang used a formation to create a cave residence in the depths of the material, took out a spirit vein, and put it underground, and let his subordinates cultivate in the cave residence. The information that Su Fang wanted to gather was continuously delivered by soulless experts. In the 2,000 years since Su Fang left the Star Billow God realm, the matters of the past had long settled down. Back then, Xian Lingzi had taken in a total of 108 Dao companions for Su Fang. After Su Fang's identity was exposed and he was hunted down by Sanskrit's experts, the forces behind these Dao companions publicly announced that they were canceling their engagements with Su Fang. This can be considered as Xinjia Tianjun doing me a great favor. Hearing this news, Su Fang smiled coldly. Thinking of the various benefits that Xian Lingzi had done for him, Su Fang's killing intent towards Xinjia Tianjun intensified. There was also news from Kuan Su's God realm. Although the truth was revealed, because of Su Fang, the Star Billow Realm Master took care of Kuan Su's God realm, causing Kuan Su's God realm to develop rapidly these years. Xian Ling Dao sect was now presided over by Ling Xiangmei, and Kuan Su also took care of Xian Ling Dao sect. This news made Su Fang's heart calm down a lot, but he still did not inquire about Xian Lingzi's news. Soulless had also infiltrated the Brahma Heaven God realm, but they were all peripheral personnel. It was difficult for them to reach the center of power of the Brahma clan and find out the whereabouts of Xian Lingzi. Moreover, Soulless had also learned that the Brahma race's branch family in the Turbid Cloud realm and the Brahma Heaven God realm's main bloodline hadn't given up on searching for Su Fang. They had even commissioned the Merchant Guild to search for Su Fang's whereabouts. Sanskrit, it won't be long before you pay a heavy price. After receiving this news, Su Fang smiled embarrassedly and began to settle into a state of cultivation. After the second primordial spirit merged with Su Fang's original body, due to the increase of the original body's cultivation, the power of the second primordial spirit also underwent an astonishing transformation. As for the height of the transformation, Su Fang estimated that the second primordial spirit could crush a high-level divine emperor like Kuan Su with the power of the primordial spirit. Then Su Fang transformed the second primordial spirit's immortal devil monster body and improved it. The immortal devil monster was the fusion of the body of an immortal and a devil, and it was unique. After Su Fang ascended to the great world, he didn't give up. He constantly used various spiritual items and the power of yin and yang to improve the immortal devil monster body. It had already reached the height of a divine body. Second primordial spirit, you will live in the immortal devil monster body. I have a creation saint elixir here. I will give you one first. Quickly improve the immortal devil monster body to a level that matches your primordial spirit. Original body, this body can't be called an immortal devil monster, but a godly devil monster. Yes, it should be called a godly devil monster. The stronger the godly devil monster body, the more powerful your strength will be, and the more help you will be to me. Thus, the second primordial spirit lived in the godly devil monster body and swallowed the creation saint elixir, constantly improving the godly devil monster body. Su Fang stayed in the cavern of time for more than 1,000 years. On this day, he flew out of the cavern of time. Looking at his frown, it was obvious that he had encountered some trouble in his cultivation. I didn't expect the Divine Emperor realm to be so difficult to break through. I thought it was a matter of course. It turned out that when Su Fang was breaking through to the Divine Emperor realm, he had encountered a shackle. After so many years of trying, he still couldn't break through. The 60th meridian that he was trying to break through needed a fortuitous encounter to be born. After pondering for a long time, Su Fang suddenly opened his eyes. The reason I encountered a shackle in my cultivation wasn't because I didn't accumulate enough divine essence, nor was it because I didn't understand the nature of heaven and earth enough. It was because there was a problem with my Tao heart. Su Fang found the source of the shackle, and his eyes shone brightly. Xinjia Tianjun captured Grandpa Xianlingzi and almost killed me. She also made my identity and status go down the drain, and now I have no choice but to endure. Therefore, my Tao heart is not smooth. If my Tao heart is not smooth and open enough, it will be difficult to break through. Senior Sister Xu Wanjun is right. A cultivator should be decisive in killing and improve fiercely. If there is a grudge, I will take revenge. If there is a grudge, I will take revenge. If someone punches me once, I will punch back twice. Only in this way can my Tao heart be smooth. This is the heart of a cultivator. It's still difficult for me to fight against Sanskrit and Xinjia Tianjun, but I have my advantages. Even if I can't kill them, I will tear off a piece of flesh from Sanskrit and use Sanskrit's blood to eliminate the obstruction in my Tao heart. This time, I will kill to my heart's content. Killing to my Tao heart is usually smooth. Having made the decision, Su Fang's eyes were filled with determination and strong killing intent. Let's start with Sanskrit in the dust element realm. Su Fang's first target was the force established by Sanskrit in the dust element realm. Through the information collected by Solus, Su Fang understood how huge Sanskrit was. The Brahma heaven god realm was a great realm controlled by Sanskrit. Including the turbid cloud realm, there were thousands of smaller realms. Sealing heaven divine Tao was just a sect in one of these smaller realms. The Brahma heaven god realm was more than 10 times bigger than the star billow god realm, and its overall strength was far from what the star billow god realm could compare to. Moreover, Sanskrit was an ancient god race that had been passed down since ancient times. Its foundation was so deep that it was difficult for outsiders to guess. Even the ruler of a star region did not dare to underestimate it. Not only the Brahma heaven god realm, Sanskrit's power could even be traced back to the ancient god realm. With such a huge force, Sanskrit was definitely not ranked in the top 1,000 among the countless god realms and forces in the universe. Because the dust element realm was connected to 2 star regions and was located in a strategic location, Sanskrit built a transrealm stargate in the dust element realm, using the dust element realm as a springboard to connect the 2 star regions. Therefore, the dust element realm was very important to Sanskrit. The Sanskrit of the Brahma heaven god realm had specially sent an expert of the god emperor realm to lead countless experts to guard the dust element realm. If the Brahma heaven god realm's power in the dust element realm is destroyed, Sanskrit's loss will not be small. Sanskrit will definitely feel the pain for a while, right? Su Fang revealed a sinister smile, like a fierce beast suddenly revealing its sharp fangs. Under the command of the second primordial spirit, the information about Sanskrit's power in the dust element realm was sent to Su Fang continuously. Second primordial spirit, you go first. After a careful planning, Su Fang released his second primordial spirit. About half a year later, the second primordial spirit sent a message. Everything is ready, the main body can take action now. Su Fang left the matter occupied by the soulless realm. Under the lead of an expert controlled by the second primordial spirit, he arrived above the matter occupied by Sanskrit. The matter occupied by Sanskrit covered an area of 100,000 miles, which was very eye-catching in the entire dust element realm. Above the matter, there was a powerful barrier protecting it. Su Fang activated his Great Perfection Stage ability. Through the barrier, he could see the mountains, forests, and a huge city in the middle of the matter. Moreover, Su Fang could also sense that there was a majestic spatial energy fluctuation in the city. Only a transrealm stargate could release such a terrifying fluctuation. From the array portal of the barrier to the city, gods were constantly shuttling through it. People were coming and going, it was very bustling. In the dust element realm, only the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce, Sanskrit, and a few other major forces had the ability to create a transrealm stargate. Just the transrealm stargate's income alone made Sanskrit a lot of money. Sanskrit, your good luck has come to an end. Su Fang smiled indifferently. Then, He activated the purple chi dharma spirit, causing an illusory and mysterious purple chi to explode from the top of his head. The creation of fate, the master of heaven's secrets. If I am the master, all the worlds will submit to me. The purple chi dharma spirit cooperated with the heaven's secret life shrinking technique. A supreme divine power that could control heaven and earth, and control fate ignored the barrier's defense and directly descended upon the city. After numerous transformations, Su Fang's great pregnant purple chi's ability to control magic treasures had been strengthened and evolved. The universe was actually a supreme artifact. After absorbing the great pregnant purple chi, the purple chi dharma spirit gained the supreme ability to control magic treasures. This made Su Fang's control over the universe even more powerful. With Su Fang's current cultivation, the divine power he released could only cover an area of less than 100 miles. Therefore, Su Fang focused his energy on the center of the city where the defense was the strongest. Boom! It was as though there was a large hand in the unseen world that grabbed the formless fate of the Sanskrit deities that were enveloped by divine power. Wisps of purple chi surged towards the purple chi umbrella above Su Fang's head. They spun crazily, forming a mysterious purple chi vortex that released a supreme power that could devour the light from providence. The divine power released by Su Fang's purple chi dharma spirit did not cover a large area, nor did it cover many deities. Therefore, the amount of purple chi devoured was not massive. However, the sudden loss of light from providence shocked many Sanskrit cultivators. Which evil demon dares to use an unorthodox divine power to absorb my Sanskrit's light from providence? I'll tear you to pieces. A deep roar rumbled from the depths of the city. Following that, an elder flew out. Chapter 1977. The Sanskrit powerhouse overseeing the dust element realm rarely showed himself. But this time, someone came knocking on his door and used a strange ability to devour the Sanskrit cultivator's fortune, causing him to lose a lot of his own fortune. The importance of fortune to a cultivator was self-evident. This Sanskrit powerhouse was so furious that he personally came out to kill Fang Ning. Seeing Su Fang from afar, the Sanskrit powerhouse's eyes flashed with golden light. A golden figure shot out at lightning speed and turned into a golden claw, crushing Su Fang's figure into pieces. Time ability? The Sanskrit powerhouse was startled. He immediately released his sensing ability and sensed the remaining spatial fluctuations. Demonic aura? Spatial ability? No matter who you are, I'll skin you alive. The Sanskrit powerhouse was not surprised. He escaped into the void and chased after Su Fang by following the spatial fluctuations. It turned out that Su Fang immediately used the time ability when the Sanskrit powerhouse was coming for him. He then released Qing Yu and used his spatial ability to break through the void. After about 10 breaths, Qing Yu's huge body broke through the void millions of miles away. Suddenly, Qing Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light. He flapped his wings again and set off a spatial fluctuation. Then, with a swish, he drilled into the void. Not long after he left, the Sanskrit powerhouse's figure escaped from the void not far away. So it's a demonic rock. No wonder you're so fast. However, don't even think about escaping from my hands. The Brahmin tribe cultivator snorted coldly. He once again tore through the air and gave chase. After about 10 times, Qing Yu and the Sanskrit powerhouse chased each other into the depths of the chaotic void. At this time, Su Fang came out of Qing Yu's body and kept Qing Yu in his inner world. He then activated the sky-piercing rainbow shuttle and turned into a golden rainbow. In an instant, he traversed an endless distance. Damn it, he actually escaped. Who is he? How does he have such a powerful divine artifact? The Sanskrit powerhouse looked in the direction where the golden rainbow disappeared with shock and surprise in his eyes. The next moment, rumble! A dull explosion was transmitted along with the vibration of space. The expression on the Sanskrit expert's face changed instantly. Not good, it's a diversion. the Sanskrit powerhouses rushed back to the dust element realm at full speed. The material controlled by Sanskrit had already been torn apart. The city had collapsed, and terrifying spatial tears were constantly devouring the broken material. Countless cultivators were frantically running for their lives. The stronghold that Sanskrit had been operating in the dust element realm for many years was completely destroyed. As for the realm-crossing Stargate, it was naturally gone. What happened? Where did this expert come from? The Brahmin expert made a grabbing motion in the air, and a Brahmin cultivator was pulled toward him from a distance. The Sanskrit cultivator trembled as he said, "I don't know what happened either. I only heard that the dozen or so experts guarding the Stargate suddenly went crazy and self-destructed when they charged into the Stargate. This caused the Stargate to collapse and space to tremble. Then it became like this." Crazy? More than a dozen experts went crazy and self-destructed the Stargate? The Sanskrit expert's vision turned black. Then, he shouted coldly, even if the Stargate collapsed, it couldn't have caused such great damage unless it was an area lord. Could it be that the enemy sent out an area lord? When the Stargate collapsed, it just so happened that an expert from the Thunderbolt sect was about to pass through the Stargate. He had millions of rune talismans on him, and was about to sell them in the Sky Martial God realm. The collapse of the Stargate detonated the rune talismans on him. As a result, it's really strange this time. Too unlucky. Unlucky? How could one not be unlucky when one's luck was devoured? The Sanskrit expert's body swayed and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The terrifying energy contained in the blood exploded and blasted the Sanskrit cultivator into pieces. Just the creation of a realm-crossing starry gate would require a peerless expert to take action, and the amount of resources consumed would be incomparably shocking. The stronghold that Sanskrit had painstakingly built in the dust origin realm was completely destroyed. As the person in charge of guarding the dust origin realm, what awaited this Sanskrit expert was severe punishment from the higher-ups of the clan. What made him especially depressed was that Sanskrit had suffered such heavy losses, and they didn't even know who the enemy was. The sudden self-destruction of more than a dozen Sanskrit experts guarding the Stargate was even more bizarre. How was he going to explain this to the higher-ups of the clan? Sanskrit's forces in the dust origin realm suffered heavy losses and were almost uprooted. When the news spread, it caused a great shock in the dust origin realm. The higher-ups of Sanskrit were shocked and sent experts to the dust origin realm to investigate. At this time, Su Fang had arrived at the Brahma Heaven God realm through the realm-crossing Stargate of the Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce. Of course, those Sanskrit experts wouldn't go crazy and self-destruct the realm-crossing Stargate. It was the work of the second primordial spirit. The second primordial spirit sneaked into Sanskrit's forces and used the night demon ability to control more than a dozen Sanskrit experts in half a year. Then, Su Fang devoured the fate of the Sanskrit cultivators and lured out the Sanskrit experts. At this time, the second primordial spirit took the opportunity to order those Sanskrit cultivators to self-destruct and destroy the realm-crossing Stargate. The collapse of the realm-crossing Stargate shouldn't have caused such great damage. Coincidentally, the Thunderbolt sect expert carried a large number of lightning runes with him and detonated them, causing the matter occupied by Sanskrit to be almost completely destroyed. This was also the misfortune brought about by the devouring of fate. Sanskrit's losses weren't small this time, but for the huge Sanskrit, it was still a drop in the ocean. It couldn't shake its foundation. The monstrous hatred in Su Fang's heart hadn't been completely vented. His Tao heart was still not smooth and needed a hearty slaughter to vent. Besides, Xianlingzi had to be saved. After a disguise, Su Fang changed his appearance and went straight to Sanskrit's headquarters, the Brahma Heaven God realm. Su Fang had two goals for this trip to the Brahma Heaven God realm. The first was to find out Xianlingzi's whereabouts. Through soulless investigation, he found out that Xianlingzi was captured by Shinja Tianjun from the Star Billow God realm. He wasn't imprisoned in the turbid cloud realm, but directly brought to the main realm of the Brahma heaven god realm. Su Fang's other goal was to find a way to take revenge on Sanskrit. As for how to take revenge, he didn't have a specific plan yet. He could only take one step at a time. Whoosh! Su Fang walked out of the realm, crossing Stargate, and appeared on a huge altar. Su Fang found the people of Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce and showed them the purple mark divine jade. They immediately treated him as a VIP. After some investigation, it turned out that this was just a small world plane not far from the Brahma heaven god realm. Although Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce was powerful, with Sanskrit's power, they wouldn't let Tong Bao Chamber of Commerce build the realm-crossing Stargate in the main realm. To enter the main realm of the Brahma heaven god realm, one must pass through Sanskrit's spatial formation in the small world. Sanskrit controlled the spatial formation and knew everyone who entered and left the main realm of the Brahma heaven god realm clearly. It was obvious how precise Sanskrit's control of the Brahma heaven god realm was. It won't be that easy to cause a stir in the Brahma heaven god realm. Su Fang raised his eyebrows. Now, it seemed that the Brahmin clan was much stronger than he had imagined. In the face of such a powerful god clan, he was as insignificant as an ant. It would be difficult for him to shake such a colossus. I'll enter the main realm of the Brahma heaven god realm first and find out the whereabouts of Shinja Tianjun and grandfather Xianlingzi. Even if I can't take revenge on Sanskrit, if I can find out their whereabouts, it won't be a wasted trip. If I can save grandfather, that would be the best thing. Su Fang made up his mind. He left the altar where the realm-crossing Stargate was and flew to a city. In a palace in the center of the city, Su Fang paid a sum of divine jade and was brought to a great hall. He was prepared to enter the main realm through the spatial formation. Suddenly a large number of Sanskrit cultivators rushed into the great hall and chased everyone to the square outside the palace. Seeing these Sanskrit cultivators on high alert, it was obvious that some big shot was coming. Su Fang helplessly waited outside the palace. Half a day later, dozens of Brahma heaven god realm cultivators surrounded a young man in a blood-red robe and flew toward the palace. "It's Godchild Fan Yi. I didn't expect to meet Godchild Fan Yi here." Everyone around him was talking about this person. Su Fang learned about this person's identity and origin from them. It turned out that this blood-red robed man was one of the 1,000 godchildren of the Brahma heaven god realm, Fan Yi. Just like the Star Billow god realm, the Brahma heaven god realm also held a godchild competition to select geniuses from the entire Brahma heaven god realm. This godchild named Fan Yi was actually not a disciple of Sanskrit, but a genius from a small realm in the Brahma heaven god realm. He won the godchild competition and was ranked in the 700. Then, Sanskrit gave him the name Fan Yi. The Brahma heaven god realm was much vaster than the Star Billow god realm, and Fan Yi was able to rank in the 700th or so among the numerous geniuses. Although his cultivation aptitude and strength were not as good as by Holan or Song Jie's, he could still be considered a genius and was at the same height as piercing metal and stone. When I ascended to the god realm, if it wasn't for the primal chaos divine lattice, I might have been forced to join the Sanskrit by Shinja Tianjun. Like Fan Yi, my bloodline and even my primordial spirit will be changed. Su Fang thought to himself. This time, all the peerless geniuses who obtained the title of Brahma heaven godchild were not only given treasures, but also given territories. Godchild Fan Yi should be heading to his territory this time. Unfortunately, Godchild Fan Yi's ranking is near the bottom. He only got a remote and desolate realm like the Ceiling Heaven God realm as his territory. If he was in the top 10, the reward would not be an ordinary small realm. Top 10? Godchild Fan Yi was born lowly. He only became the Brahma heaven godchild because of his ruthless methods and unpredictable dark blood Tao. The top 10 are all the peerless geniuses of the main bloodline. Who is qualified to compete with them? God-child Fan Yi was given a name by the higher-ups of Sanskrit. He will also get a chance to cleanse his marrow and change his blood in the Brahma Heaven Sacred Pond. Do you know what the spirit blood in the Brahma Heaven Sacred Pond is? It is a drop of diluted blood essence from Sanskrit's ancestor. It is called the blood of heaven. With such a bloodline, even if God-child Fan Yi can't become the God-child of the star realm, he will soar to the sky.